What did you find the most beneficial to help get to that first elite level?
Mindset. I was stuck at 1,000 pounds for years. I hit my first 1,000 pound squat in 2019, and then I stayed around that level until a little less than 2 years ago. For 4 years, I didn't even PR my squat. I always tell everyone, if you're going to be a successful multiply lifter, you need to be good with pain, and you need to be good at handling pressure from the gear itself.
Time to sit down, keep it real, and cut the bullshit. Welcome to Table Talk. All right, we're back with another episode. Here we go. I always screw up the beginning. It becomes part of the whole thing. So now it's part of the show. And with John Ruoppo, co-owns Evolve Fitness, single-ply squat, 1075, multiply squat, 1201, lifted, and 30 sanctioned meets, chairman of somewhere. All this is just kind of rudimentary. I just really don't give a shit. I want to sit down, talk about training, and kind of go from there. But before we jump on, is there anything I forgot that's like important?
No, that sounds about right. Sponsored by F8. But,
yeah. You've been lifting for a while and you're strong.
Yes.
And that kind of covers the whole basis of what I wanted to cover with that.
Yeah.
The injury thing though, because we had this scheduled, then we had to push it back because you got hurt. And one thing I wanted to throw out there is when I was messing around, trying to figure out which strength sport has the most injuries, right? So strongman obviously leads the board.
Yeah.
And it was, I think strongman was 4.5 to 6 for every 1,000 hours, right? Bodybuilding was 2.4 to 1 for every 1,000 hours. Powerlifting was 2 to 4.2 for every 1,000 hours. But here's the thing that most people miss, because they'll say, hey, lifting weights you're gonna get hurt, all the kind of crap that goes along with that. 60% of all injuries, and you own a gym, 60% of all injuries that happen in the gym happen because of dropping weights on feet, smashing their fingers on plates, tripping over implements, essentially people not putting their shit away. Creates the majority of the injuries and the far majority of the injuries that lead to hospitalization or going to the ER. So the whole like powerlifting is going to get you hurt type of thing. It's like, no, not putting your weights away, just dropping shit on your feet, right? So before we get into what your actual shoulder or bicep injury was, how many times you've dropped a weight on your foot?
Maybe one by accident. Maybe. I don't even remember. Yeah. Not many times.
You remember how long it hurt? Did you break a toe?
I think my toenail fell off, actually. Yeah.
The reason I ask is I think everybody that listens to this has probably done this.
Fingernails on the dumbbells, putting the dumbbell back or something.
Yeah, but the toe, man, that's one, because it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts like a bitch,
It
right?
does, yeah.
And it seems like it never goes away until you think back in hindsight, like, when did it stop hurting?
Yeah.
And you don't know.
You
just know it lasted forever.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing about it is it doesn't screw up your squat, bench, or it just hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. You can still do the
more,
motion.
it hurts more just to walk around and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But it's one of those weird ones that, like with your surgery or pec or something like that, you kind of know when it's getting better.
Uh-huh.
The toe thing just like disappeared one day.
Yeah.
But everybody can.
Well, like you said, you're still going to lift through that.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what. I mean, you're the next day, you're going to lift through that. It might hurt a little bit, but, if you get surgery, you got to kind of back off a little bit.
We can probably say that it may actually help somebody if they don't know how to ground and root their feet very well.
Oh, yeah.
They'll have feedback.
Absolutely. Yeah.
On how to drive their feet in. So what happened to your shoulder? Because I heard on a couple podcasts that you were on that it was before the surgery. Yeah. So there's been issues going on for a while. So.
Yeah. About 2.5 years ago, I was deadlifting and I tore the back of my labrum, and got surgery, and then like 6 to 8 months later, like it was getting better, but like something still wasn't right. So I ended up going back and getting another MRI, and I got a slap tear in a different part of my labrum, and I also my bicep tendon was stretched out and like inflamed. So they ended up going ahead and doing a bicep tenonesis as well as a shoulder labrum and a scope.
Was there any spurs in the joint?
No. There wasn't.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. All the x-rays they gave me, everything looked good until I got the MRI itself. Yeah.
Yeah. How did it feel though? Obviously it felt bad enough to get the surgery, but
I mean,
before that.
I could have lived with it you know, but like when it comes to lifting weights, like my bench press over the last couple of years has been awful because, you know, like, you know, it's a pain kind of bearing thing. So I can handle the pain, but you know, especially when I'm in a shirt, I come up to the top, my shoulders wants to give out on me. It's really loose. So, you know, the last meet I did, the Holy Wars meet I did, you know, I opened at 683 on my bench. Luckily I took a token first, but I opened at 683, threw it like nothing. And at the top, my shoulder just kept giving out on me over and over again. So that's when I was like, all right, I need to get this fixed or else I'm not gonna be able to hit the numbers I want to hit.
Have you been able to get back to a weight you can press now to know if that won't happen?
I actually just had surgery about 5 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I'm just like starting to do like little baby things on it now. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You should be already back, but anyhow.
I'm doing some stuff. Yeah.
No, I'm talking like an idiot.
Yeah.
Because I won't get into it, but I had shoulder surgery once and did a meet 5 weeks later. But that was not a good thing to do.
Brutal.
Don't do that. So I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to be a enabler of that stupid shit because it just led to another repeat surgery.
Well, my last surgery I had like the 2.5 years ago, I did start really early. I think I was in a shirt within like 2 months.
Yeah.
Like really quickly. And it actually didn't do any damage to it at all. So when they were in my shoulder, the anchor, one of the anchors was coming out and whatever, but it didn't do any damage to the actual shoulder. They just had to take that out.
So let's talk about that because there is a learning lesson there, right?
Yeah.
So you had the first one done.
Yep.
And there may have still been that other damage that they didn't see, right? So let's just set that aside for a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, the first one done, so you rush it back, you know, like a lot of us do. And I understand it. Like, I'll enable it if somebody really wants it and it's not on camera and it's not public and it doesn't come back on me.
Yeah.
I'll enable it and kind of tell them how to do that, but there is a price for that. You know, sometimes it can come back fast. There's a lot of things that you can do, not even talking about peptides and shit like that, just training range of motion.
Yeah.
So when you were doing that, what was the process? Was it get range of motion back first?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And then you forced it, right?
I have 100%. Yeah.
So give me a story about how you forced it, because I got a good one I can share with you.
Yeah, just got the surgery done, you know, obviously went to physical therapy.
Yes.
Was talking to people, you know, in the sport that actually like, are in equipment. They understand it better than a regular physical therapist, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just asking them how to do things and, you know, they tell me, you know, what to do and what not to do. But the things I could do, I would definitely force it way ahead of time, you know, like over, you know, doing the mobility work. You know, I think I was benching with a barbell in like 2 or 3 weeks. Like you shouldn't be doing that, obviously, but I didn't really have anything major, like, you know, like a story for you. But
oh God, I got so stupid one, man.
Let's hear it.
I always knew that range of motion was first. And I think the first appointment back's like 7 or 10 days.
Yeah.
Post-surgery, whatever it is.
Yep.
And so I wanted to be able to have full range of motion when I went back. And the only reason I thought I could do this, and it makes sense, is the surgeon said, because I didn't have full range of motion when I went in.
Yeah.
And while you were under, we moved your arm in full range of motion. So I'm thinking, okay, I can do that. The only thing that's not doing it is me. It's my inhibition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It makes it's.
I understand.
Okay, this is how my meathead thing was working.
Yeah.
So as we're getting closer to that first day, I would like the kitchen countertop. It's a little high, you know, like waist high.
Yeah.
Put a stability ball on it, put my hand there, and I'd like just like crank the ball, you know, that's kind of like moderate. And it would hurt, as you know, and it wasn't getting where it needs. I wanted to go in there and be like, boom, straight all the way up. And so about 2 days out, I had this brilliant idea, and we were developing the website at the time. So I had a headset on talking to the web developers pretty much all day. So I tell them what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a sled strap. I'm going to hook it around my wrist. I'm going to take a 5-pound plate on the other side, and I'm going to heave it over the top of the door.
Oh, geez.
Right. So no matter what, as soon as I throw it, it's like jumping off, you know, into a cliff into water.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do past that point. So I did it. And it worked. I mean, it was a 10-pound plate, because we discussed this, because the 5-pound may not be high enough that it might just, you know, and the 25 might just be stupid.
Yeah.
And so there was some thought here. So I threw it up over, and it hurt like a bitch, but it was straight. But what I didn't, now I'm freaking out because it hurts bad, like real bad. And I'm thinking, oh, I just screwed up.
Yeah.
And I just tore it off like something, but nothing popped. right? So the pop's the thing that you don't want, right?
Yeah.
Like nothing pops. I'm like, okay, nothing popped. This just hurts. And if I just let it hang there, it's just, is it going to hurt worse or is it just going to keep hurting? And it just kept hurting. It didn't go numb at any point. Then I started to freak out because I didn't know how the hell I was going to get my arm down. Right, because now I'm in panic mode because I'm not even thinking.
Yeah.
I got the other guys on the phone. I'm like, oh my God, somebody might have to call 911 because I'm stuck. You know, I can't like reach around. I'm thinking I got to reach around, right, to be able to pull it.
Yeah.
And these guys are just laughing their ass off the whole time. This is for like it seemed like an hour,
I bet.
Maybe 3 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And the one guy says, you're an idiot. Just reach up and grab your wrist and pull it down with the other hand. And I pulled it down. But when I went in, you have to do the spider walk.
Yeah.
You know? I had it there and like, yeah, I got this. And so anyhow, I wanted to get range of motion. I was benching about the same as what you like I might've started like a week with a reverse band broomstick to a 3 board.
Yeah.
You know, and then just progress from there. Long story short, it came back fast, but new thing. I don't know. I think it's the same thing. I don't think I created new issues. I think there were other issues that were already there.
Exactly. Yeah.
That because I didn't take my time coming back from the first one, I didn't address and strengthen the rotator cuff and some of the other things that became problematic later, right? Because it's an opportunity to let them all heal.
Exactly.
You know, the things that are screwed up and also the things that are kind of screwed up that you don't know about. I didn't think that way. Like, so you guys are smarter today than dumbass me.
Well, honestly though, I always have that same mindset too, but I pushed for like a year and a half straight. I did like 7 meets in a row, like nonstop. And like everything else in my body hurt. It wasn't injured or anything, but everything hurt.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I was like, you know what, like I'm actually going to listen to them and like kind of back off everything. Cause my body just needs a break. Like if I want to keep pushing my body even higher, I need to give it a break.
Yeah. Well, that's always been my criticism of deloads.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have deloads? Because they're going to happen anyhow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially.
Obviously, you don't want it to be an injury, but the injuries provide a pretty cool time to let everything down regulate, you know, get the GPP higher, get the cardiovascular fitness a little bit, circulation a little higher, get all that. So when you start back up again, all it really does is add maybe 8 to 12 more weeks in front of your next meet prep cycle. Yeah. A transition phase.
Yeah.
You know, and people will screw that up too. So we'll talk about this as well.
Okay.
They'll screw that up too because they'll kind of get back. And then if they normally have a 12-week meet prep or whatever it is, they just jump right into that. Prep. And they don't have that transition because your strength it's going to be 75, maybe 80%.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Overall, your shoulders way low, bench way lower, right?
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah.
You got to bring it back to at least to 90.
Yeah.
So right now you're just in this recovery phase. So what's the training look like across the board for that?
Right now?
Yeah.
Just doing my normal. So I go to PT 2 or 3 days a week. I do what they tell me to do. And then I also reached out to Ben Pauly. He has a physical therapist he trains with, so he's going to be taking over everything I do. I'm just going to let him just do everything for me, and that's going to be coming up. I think next week I'll get cleared 6 weeks, and I think I just jump in with him. Then we can really push it. But you know, a couple days a week doing legs, you know, belt squat, you know, leg press, quad extension, hamstring curls, lunges. Nothing crazy, you know, just trying to get back in the swing of things.
Okay.
I was actually before my surgery, I was actually prepping to do a raw meet. I wanted to squat 900 raw. And I weighed in at 307, got to weight, ended up going to an IV clinic, get an IV bag, had excruciating belly and back pain. So I ended up going to the emergency room. I had pancreatitis, kidney failure, and rhabdo. So then I was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Why do you think all those?
It could have been a lot of stuff, you know, supplements, food. So
the rhabdo though? I mean, I get the other one.
So I think what happened, I don't know exactly, but what I think what happened was I was like 325, 330. I was trying to eat as much as I could. And like just for whatever reason, I was getting really constipated. My belly just felt so big. I was getting constipated. So I was having a hard time eating and drinking. I was probably drinking maybe half a gallon a day, which obviously for us, we want probably closer to 2 gallons of water. So I think probably did that for about a month. I was probably half gallon to 3/4 of a gallon. And for food, I was eating relatively healthy, maybe 80-20, you know, a lot of meat, rice, vegetables, you know, whatever. But then I got to a point I couldn't eat anymore. I was really struggling to get food down. My belly was just so bloated. So I ended up eating, you know, pizza, fast food, just anything to gain weight. So I think like, you know, pancreatitis, you know, I think it was just the increase in fat.
No, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
The dehydration, you know, that kind of makes sense.
I think it was over time. Yeah. Like more an overtime thing, not like, you know, because I didn't even really sweat out or anything like that. I just did a little bit of like, you know, there's like a little water cup, but I didn't really sweat out anything, you know? So I was like, I've been way more dehydrated than this before. Like, why is this happening now? You know?
Now, is this the meet that you squatted the single-ply world record?
No, so after that, I just decided I want to do a raw meet because I knew I was getting surgery.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's just do a raw meet for fun, get one in, and then I'll get the surgery done. Yeah, so like my goal was just to squat 900, you know, so yeah, that was kind of what happened.
Did you do it?
No, I went to an emergency room and they admitted me that day.
Oh, so you had to pull out in the warm-ups or before?
No, so I weighed in and then the meet would have been the next day. And then I went to the emergency room and they admitted me.
Were you in the process of recombing?
Yeah, I just went to a barbecue place. I was starting to eat and then I went to the IV clinic. You know, I forget exactly what they gave me, but you know, fluids and all that stuff. And then halfway through my bag, I had to leave, went right to the emergency room.
Wow.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Okay, so that was... In a way, that's kind of like your GPP prep phase.
Yeah, I guess.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just ended. Well, sometimes you can't base the success of a training phase on the meet.
Yeah.
This is one of those examples,
100%,
right?
Yeah.
Where everything could have been really solid going into it. It's just shit happens.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Yeah.
And so when did I'm too lazy to open powerlifting here. When did the single ply, because that wasn't that long ago.
It was earlier this year. Yeah, I think it was, I'm trying to think. I think it was February. Yeah, I think it was February.
Yeah, the 1075. I just have the 1075. I don't have the number.
Yeah.
What prompted that? First off, I should probably know, you have totals in here with raw with wraps, however we wanted to define raw, like every type of raw, you know, and then unlimited multiply and single ply. So you've competed in every category possible.
Yep.
So, but it's interesting going from the multiply into the single ply, which we see happen a little bit more frequently nowadays. What was the reason for that outside of just the record? Yeah. Because
I just honestly, it was the record. Yeah, it was definitely the record. I was just looking, you know, records and seeing what I could potentially break, and you know, 1300 on multiply is just not there yet. So I'm like, I want a record. So I just
you're in like 308. So you get
I'm going down to 275 after, but yeah, 308s right now.
Yeah, so it's Hoff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to tell you. It's just there's just no way right now. You know, like I think the squat's 13. I think Carol did 1305 or 6, and I just hit 1201, and I probably had a little bit left in the tank, but 1300's not there yet. So I just wanted a world record, to be honest with you. Just wanted to go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there a bench and deadlift there?
So I was going to just squat and then just take tokens, but RPS actually allows you to do squat only. So I just did squat only. Yeah. I actually tried for the record too in Florida at the showdown meet. Yeah. And it was really hot down there and I passed out twice trying to take the world record, but I was planning on taking the world record squat and total at that meet earlier this year too, or last year.
Do people still debate the token thing?
Yeah, definitely. I would think so.
Well, it used to be a you know how powerlifting is, right? There's always like bullshit that kind of goes along with all of it. I've learned to kind of just be indifferent to all of it. Yep. But the whole token thing used to be one that people get super pissed about. Like the fact that you didn't have to take the tokens, like some people would be, that's bullshit. Yeah. And meanwhile, if you really think about it, like a 155 bench.
I'm not going to miss
it wouldn't even need to be, it would just need to be 55 pounds.
Yeah. Just a bar.
The bar and the collars.
Yeah.
Like what's the point?
So for squat only, I don't think it really matters because it's the first lift to meet anyway, right? Yeah. So if you're doing a deadlift record, I get that. If you're taking a deadlift record away from someone that went through a full power meet, so I understand that part. Yeah. You know, I understand why someone would be upset.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that whole thing has died off and it's been replaced with whatever's the new hot thing for people to bitch about.
Exactly. 100%.
So where did you start, or when did you, obviously you started Raw.
Yes.
And that was 2013.
13. That was my first meet. Yeah. March 2013.
What started all this?
So I was just lifting at my local gym. I was in high school at the time. And there's these guys that were just really strong. And I was just talking to them. I actually knew them from high school. They were my sister's grade, 4 years ahead of me. And yeah, I asked them, like, I wanted to jump in with them. I wanted to train with them. And they were in prep or whatever. So I didn't even know powerlifting was a sport at the time whatsoever. So I ended up going to their meet with them and I watched them. And then like I think a year or so later, I ended up, wanting to train powerlifting myself. And I just jumped into a meet with them the following time.
How did that, what were your lifts in the first meet?
I was pretty good bencher in high school. I think it was after high school. Yeah. I think it was like 2 years after high school, but I think I benched. Yeah, I missed 400. I think raw on the bench. I think I might have hit 350 if I remember correctly. I went right to 400. I know what I was doing. Sure. Squat, I think I hit 435. Jumped to 500, missed that, and then deadlift. I want to say I hit. If I didn't hit 585, I at least attempted it. Maybe 550. Okay. Something like that.
So you had a good base level of strength?
Yeah. I was training since I was 16, and I still enjoyed lifting heavy. I just wasn't really squatting and stuff like that yet.
So when did you, I like to go back to see when you first started playing sports, we're talking as a kid.
Yeah.
About what age and what were the sports?
I think I was 4. Soccer was the first sport I played. I'm 4 or 5 years old. Played that for probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I know this is where the podcast stops and the ad starts, and most of you guys just want to skip ahead, but hang on because this one actually matters to me. You all know who John Meadows was. John and I were very close friends. So I'm proud to partner with Granite, which was his company. The principles and values that he had as a person, he instilled into the company. The Meadows whey protein, it's just simply whey. The way that I use that is right after training because I want it to digest faster. I want it to get into my system faster. The other product is creatine, which is like a no-brainer at this point. Everybody should use creatine. Even if they don't train, everybody should be using creatine just for the neural benefits associated with that. Right now, you can get 10% off with code TABLETALK at granitenutrition.com. If you've ever respected John, this is how we keep his legacy alive. Goalie?
So I ended up being a goalie later, but I think just a field player.
Okay.
And then I ended up
not front line though.
So in high school, I played goalie, but I also if we weren't that good.
Yeah.
We went 5-9, I think, my senior year, something like that. So if we were down by 1 or 2 points, they would put me forward, and I was really fast at the time. I was still bigger than everyone, so I would just chase the ball in and just tap it in.
What about the endurance?
They would literally keep me on half the field, and they would send me long balls. I just keep running back and forth sprinting wise, but my endurance was okay. They made us run 2 miles every single day.
Yeah.
Even me as a goalie.
The reason I ask some of these things, a lot of these capacities are developed at a really young age.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously some are genetic as well.
Yeah.
And so if you're more anaerobic, more explosive, typically in soccer, you're going to fall back. You're not going to have the stamina to be able to push through on the other one, but some of it's being developed during that time.
Yeah.
What were some of the other sports?
I ended up playing basketball when I was 10. I ended up playing that through high school as well.
So there's the explosive anaerobic.
Yeah, I was a 5'11" center.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I ended up playing football after high school. I ended up playing a little bit of semi-pro, you pay for it, the semi-pro league. Played that for a couple of years, and then I ended up getting playing in flag football too. And I actually, did you see ESPN, how they had the pros versus Joes thing years ago? So I actually played against a lot of those guys in Florida, in nationals and stuff like that. So we played against ex-NFL guys, high-end D1 guys, just flag football, but it was fun.
How's this football, this football thing happen? How big were you in high school?
I was 220 probably my senior year. I was good size for good size. So I wanted to play football.
What height?
Same height. I've been this height since I was 9th grade probably. Yeah, roughly 6 feet, maybe a little bit less than 6 feet tall. But
so you went to play?
Yeah, so I wanted to play in high school.
Yeah,
because the coaches wanted to recruit me nonstop. High school they wanted me to play. My wife, she's gonna laugh at me for saying this, but my wife didn't want me to play because I was a really good athlete, a good goalie, very good, all state level goalie. Could have played in college and stuff like that. But I always wanted to play football. I was bigger. I liked lifting weights. I wanted to hit people. But yeah, so I was dating her at the time in high school. I've been with her a long time, and she just didn't want me to play. So I ended up listening to her. And after I was done with everything, people, reached out to me, asked to play semi-pro. So I ended up going that route.
So she was okay with you like killing yourself and fucking your brain up after you were out of school?
No. I don't know if it was the fact that maybe she wanted me to like go to college and play soccer. I don't really know exactly what the idea was, but and like the dangers. And now I'm doing this stuff, and she hates this stuff.
Well, that's why I threw that injury thing out from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Because if we were to compare the injury rate of what was powerlifting, actually 2 to 6 incidents per 1,000. Compare that to football.
Oh, it's not even close. It's not even close. Not even close.
I mean, just comparing that to strongman. Strongman is 3 times higher, right? Because of that. So powerlifting is a very safe.
Oh, considering,
sport.
yeah, absolutely.
100%. Things kind of happen through the process. So you're training and these dudes are strong. Are they competitors?
Yeah, they were competing.
Yeah.
I think they were my sister's age. I was probably like in high school. I might have been 18. They might have been 22. And, they were just starting to get into it too. And they, pretty good lifters, like 500-600 pound squats, 400-pound benches, 500-600 pound deadlifts.
What genre? Like raw, drug tested?
Yeah, raw. Yeah, raw, probably drug tested. Yeah. And, like I said, this was like 15 years ago though, too. And, you see those numbers if you're not involved in powerlifting, those numbers are crazy. You walk into a commercial gym, you see that, you're like, whoa. So that's kind of why I liked it. I was interested in it.
Yeah.
I never seen anyone that strong before. So,
well, I asked that because people, I don't want to say, some people will tend to judge other people's powerlifting based upon where they compete.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And what everybody seems to lose in that mix is they usually compete where they're brought in.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're brought in and it's a gym that's all multiply and you filter into multiply, well, yeah, no shit. Everybody, all your friends are basically doing that. Yep. If they come in, if it's all IPF, raw, then that's just how they're brought in.
100%.
It's powerlifting propaganda. I don't know how we want to, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because it's what it is. But then it's odd to me that somebody would then chastise somebody. Well, I can't believe you lived in that federation. Like, dude, it's how I started. I've been in it for 10 years. Yep. What you're asking me to do is to like part ways with everybody that I've ever known and everything I love, to jump ship, to go over to this other, and vice versa.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
So that's why I like to ask where it comes from, because in that route, it's not, multiply and all the other kind of stuff.
Exactly.
It was raw. So your first meets were raw there.
Yeah.
Then where did you move after that?
So this actually kind of got me into multiply a little bit. So the meet that I went to was an SBF meet. It was in Rhode Island. I'm from Connecticut. And do you know Andy Vale? Do you remember that name? No. He trained at Westside a little bit, like back in the day, long time ago. But he had a gym in Rhode Island. I was hosting the meet, and they had a bunch of multiply guys. I didn't know what it was at the time, and I was fascinated, with it and whatever. And then there's a couple other guys, Andy, Mike, Burl. They invited me to go train at their gym, and I was still raw, but they were all in the gear all the time, so I was like around it all the time. I might have tried it like a couple times just in the gym, messing around and stuff like that. But then I stayed raw for a while. Ended up lifting at another gym, and Mike ended up moving. Andy kind of shut down like the powerlifting stuff. He started doing like more strongman stuff. So Mike opened up another gym in Connecticut, which was actually closer to me. So I ended up following them, and then that's how I got into multiply.
Because that's what they were doing.
That's what they were doing, exactly like you said.
Yep. You see what goes around.
100%. Yep.
What about the introduction of that? What about the multiply attracted you to it?
I think like everyone always says, it's just more weight, it's more fun. Throw a pair of briefs on, like just things didn't like hurt as much and stuff like that, able to train harder, longer, just that kind of stuff. It's just different. It's hard to explain. It's more of like you can only I don't want to say this, but you can only push your body so hard, like not hard, but you can only get so strong, right? Like things start slowing down a little bit, right? In multiply, you set the shirt a little bit differently. You can bench 50 more pounds. Squat suit, set the straps tighter. You might be able to, as long as you're technical, squat 50 more pounds. So, even if I'm, getting 5 pounds, say you put 5 pounds, you're an elite guy, you put 5 pounds on your bench every few months, maybe, if there's no setbacks. With gear, you just change something in the equipment, your weight goes up. So it was just fun to me just to, keep experimenting and learning how to do, like mess with the gear to put the pounds on my numbers instead of just getting strong.
Well,
It's kind of both.
yeah. I mean, gear is kind of like a double-edged sword, though.
Yeah.
Because you put the briefs on, it's like, wow, this is great, man. You put the suit on, it's this is fun. It's all great, like the deadlift suit, like whatever. You put the bench shirt on, then all of a sudden you're like, this sucks ass.
Oh, 100%.
Like, this is terrible. This is the worst thing ever. You know, so it's that's the double. That's not everybody. You know, because that's the bane of the whole freaking equipped powerlifting, and always has been. Is that, you know, that's where the skill acquisition kind of plays into all of it. But man, that's the bitch.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I feel you there.
Yeah. So getting back into this path, your journey coming up through.
Yeah.
At what point? Because there's what we would call being a recreational powerlifter.
Yeah.
And then there's a middle phase, which I haven't yet really been able to define. Yeah. Right. And then there would be what we can just call the professional powerlifter, using the word professional very loosely.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know, like the all-in mentality, you know, it's a top priority of life.
Yeah.
And when did it go from the recreational to
very quickly?
Because you didn't have that middle part. As I was looking through.
Yeah, no, I really did.
Like, it's just like, if I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
No, so I did that first meet, and then I literally jumped right in. I think I went from 220 pounds to 275 within 6 to 8 months. I ended up putting like hundreds of pounds on my squat, at least 100 pounds on my, maybe not 100, but 75 pounds on my bench and hundreds of pounds on my deadlift within the first year. You know, like you said, just force feeding, everything you can.
So what did that look like? What did the force feeding look like?
So at that point, I ate like crap. Right. I ate like crap. I just put on weight.
Yeah.
I had a Red Baron pepperoni pizza every single day, a pound of beef, a box of macaroni and cheese. I was doing a full gallon of milk for a while, but I couldn't handle it anymore. I did a half a gallon of milk. Yeah, half a gallon of milk. And that was like baseline. I don't know exactly how many calories that is, but like it's 4,000 or 5,000. Yeah. And then I would just eat whatever on top of that. So that was every
very
day.
Affordable too.
Yeah. Well, the Red Baron pepperoni pizza 15 years ago was like $2.99. Yeah. Very affordable. Yeah. Very cheap. You know. So yeah, I just force feeding myself bad foods. You know, trained 4 or 5 days a week. Didn't go out. You know, bars. I stayed out of that. Went home, slept 8 hours. You know, pretty locked in.
How was training? How was that structured?
So for a while I was just kind of doing my own thing. Like, so when I grew up, it was like the Lily Bridges and stuff like that. So I was like copying a lot of things they were doing, like going heavy, like all the time, like, you know, doubles, singles, triples, whatever the case may be.
Were you alternating the squat and the deadlift?
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. I was squatting heavy, deadlifting light, and then exactly. Yes. So like, that's exactly what I was doing. And I did that for a while. I think when I was 21, I was hitting like 700 pound raw squats, 450 bench, 700 pound pulls raw. And then I think I stayed around 275 for a very, very long time. And that's when I kind of like started going to that other gym, you know, jumping on multi-ply and whatnot. And, but yeah, like I was, like you said, I definitely skipped that middle phase. I jumped right into it, all in. Was
it hard for you to mentally move out of the 275s?
At first, yes. I was younger. And at that point, I don't want to say I cared what I looked. I didn't care what I looked like, but I didn't really like. I cared what I looked like a little bit. Then I just started. You know, I hit a point where I just didn't care anymore, and I just wanted numbers. But yeah, I absolutely. At that point, I did care. Yeah, I cared. For me, it was just how I felt too. I felt horrible.
Yeah, for me, it was. Yeah. You know, 242, 274 for the longest time. Then Louis, like, you need to be 308, and in my head, it wasn't like I didn't really care what the hell I looked like. Yeah, it's like it's already hard enough to eat. Like, how in the hell am I going to eat more? Like, how am I going to ever fill the? Now you're taller than I am, right? Which helps, but it's still, if your metabolism's high and you're already eating a ton of shit, half, 3/4 of what you're eating is kind of like just shit, but very high calorie dense. Yeah, which makes it even worse. Right? Because if you want to clean it up, you got to eat twice as much.
100%. Yeah. So, yeah.
So it's that's where I had the biggest battle, was how in the hell am I going to fill it? And I never did. You know, it was like, where could I fluctuate and be the most optimal to be able to this was a good strategy to be able to always bloat up into a meet and never have to lose weight.
Yep.
And going into a meet.
Yep.
And that was like 292, right around there. And but I didn't want to do it. But he would also point out, look at everybody else in your class.
Yeah.
In your height, or look at the 308s. They're all your height or shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, oh fuck, man.
Yeah.
So I should be a super. Like how in the hell? And I never hit. I think, and I don't think you've hit it either. I think there's this breaking point where like the weight just keeps going up and you don't have to force it anymore. And then you just wake up one day and you're 350. Yeah. I never hit that. I always wanted it.
So obviously I haven't got to 350, but no, for sure. So like, when I was younger, I was 275 to 300 took years, but then I finally hit that point and now I can eat kind of normal now, like not even forcing myself. So this is before I got sick. I was staying over 300, 305 without even really trying. I was just kind of staying there. Like I could eat very normal, to be honest with you. And then I got sick. I got down to 280. I'm like sitting around 290 right now. And same thing. I can eat very minimal food and I can still stay at 290. No problem right now. So yeah.
No, that's the good place to be, man. That's a great place to be.
Yeah. I think I'm actually gonna stay at 275. I think I want to try to break some records there and be a little healthier for a little bit too.
Why?
Because of the hospital thing, more or less. Just because I got sick and whatever.
You don't have to gain it all in a fucking month.
That's how I am though, man. I'm all for it. Like it makes me almost think like AJ Roberts. Like I got to 325, 330 and I squatted 1200 and I'm like, if I get to 350, like I think I could break 1300,
Yeah, but you don't need to gain the 40 pounds in a fucking month.
I know, but that's just how I am. I want shit now,
Yeah. Well,
I agree with you.
I tell you,
I do agree with you.
Keep that in mind when you have the lifters in your gym that are filming shit and wanting to aspire to be like their favorite influencer and don't want to take their time to be able to get better.
I get that. I understand. I understand. Yeah.
Well, the point is we all like to make fun of a lot of that shit, but the same mentality still exists.
Yeah.
I mean, even at my age now, if there was a way that I could put like 100 pounds on a lift in the next 2 weeks and not die.
Yeah.
I would do it just as fast as anybody else.
100%.
Be a fucking idiot not to.
I know.
I'm not going to say, oh no, I'd rather just take 4 years and get 20. No, nobody's going to do that.
That's just my mindset. Right? Yeah.
But you gotta learn how to manage the stupidity.
For sure. Absolutely.
So it's, how do you go about doing that? I call it prioritizing the stupidity.
Yeah. How do I go?
Well, it would be an example. It has to be in there. Like you have to do some stupid shit.
Of course.
Right. We can go back through, if we had your training log and it was all pulled up, we could go back through and find, oh my God, dozens of training sessions where you would sit here and say, that was stupid. Right. Mm-hmm. And some of them you would say, yeah, but it was necessary because of X, Y, or Z. Yep. It was necessary because, look, the couple weeks leading into it, I was feeling a little scared under the heavier weights. And this one day, this one day I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. If I die, I die.
100%. That's literally what I was just about to say.
Then you do it. Then it goes away. Then the next week, when that fear comes back, like,
you can this. Exactly.
I got this.
That's exactly the comment I was about to say.
Yeah. So it's figuring out how to manage that. Coming back from injury every now and again, you got to push something a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. Than what you're really comfortable with, just to mentally deal with it. Mm-hmm. Thankfully you didn't do it during a lift, which becomes a different mental
100%
a game with that, but it's still there. Yeah. It's still there. Yeah. Where I think it's, and the people that don't do it, you have lifters in your gym, so I'm going to let you kind of, there's two types of people. There's people there's the type of people that do the stupid shit all the time. Uh-huh. Right. There's people that do the stupid shit all the time, but it's not really stupid shit that they're doing because their effort really isn't as high as what they're making it look like their effort is. Yeah. They're like faking it. Yeah. For the whole thing. Uh-huh. And then there's those that never push the boundary ever. Yeah. Right. So there's kind of like a balance between all that. Mm-hmm. And, how do you determine if you're in the gym and you see this situation, because you see this coming, like you see it through the warm-ups and some of the work sets, you see this is coming. Like this is this could be stupid.
Yeah.
Right? How do you filter through if you let it go or if you try to dial it back in somebody else?
I was gonna say in somebody else.
Yes.
I think it just depends on the lifter themselves. Like, so one of my lifters behind me, I have to slow him down. He'll just want to keep going over and over again. And there's gonna be like, he's gonna try. Like he will kill himself to get the lift, right? And then I have other lifters that say, like kind of sandbag, like they get to a certain weight and they're like, oh, that's it for them. Like, no, it's not. You have another jump and no problem. Where the other guy, I'm like, he wants to go up. I'm like, no, back off. I think it's just learning your lifters more than anything. I like just their mentality and, their personality kind of.
The one thing I wonder, and get your opinion on this, because I like the context you just presented. He's willing to go hard like all the time. Mm-hmm. And he's able to go hard all the time.
Yep. Which
what goes through my mind is that tells me he's not going hard. Because if you really, really go hard, you don't have your systemic fatigue is going to pile up after a couple of weeks that there's no way in hell that you can actually go. In other words, there's another level that he has to get to that he's not there yet. Right? And how do you go about trying to explain what that is? Because you squatted 1,200 pounds, so you've gone through this, right?
Yeah.
So there is that level. There's a certain level to where if you could be set up for a double for that day or a triple, and after the single, just in your head, you're like, that's it, right? Then as soon as you rack it, 3 seconds afterwards, and you back out from under the bar, you already know next week's got to change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of things have to change just because of the effort that kind of went into there. But it's also attributed to how much force you're actually putting into the bar at one time, right? So it's down, down, down. Then when you go, bam, and you go to come up, it's 100%, right? Where that's a quality that's developed over time.
Yeah.
And if it's 70%, it's still going to come up. It can come up fast. It can come up, but it's not going to be anywhere near as exhausting
100%
than if it's that 100%.
Yep.
Even if the 100% is lower load, it's just more exhausting because you're recruiting more muscle fibers.
Yep.
The bar path is straighter. There's less fuckery going into it. So there's just more motor units that are being fired, more mental. Everything's just at a different level.
Yep.
And the goal is to get everybody there.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So how do you explain that to people?
I think I would just kind of like show them like certain, like go back to the old school videos and just show them like what like all out effort actually looks like, or even like show them some of like even my videos. Like I've taken a squat in the gym with a bunch of AR. I've come up 10-second squat, bracket. I'm not saying everyone should do this, but I'd go down and have a tremor or a seizure on the ground because I exerted so much, And I'm not saying everyone should do that, but if you're grinding through a lift and you think that's all you have, like it's not, because like look at this situation, look at this example.
Whereas I'll agree that I don't think everybody has to do that, but that changes your anchor for
your perspective.
Yeah, your perspective is that's now a 10.
Yes.
We all know you don't have to train at a 10. We all know that. But if that's your 10, then what did your 8 just become?
Exactly. Probably a 6 or 7.
Yeah, where if that wasn't your 10, and it was realistically a 7, then you're training at a 5. That's the difference I'm talking about.
Yeah. And I think I don't want to tell my lifter to take an attempt to miss it, but I think it's a good thing once in a while to put them through that 10 out of 10 strain so they actually know what it feels like. Yes. Most people don't. They really don't. Yeah.
And this is why I asked if you're kind of watching, this is where things can get kind of weird, because sometimes I'll see a lifter that's just having a bad day, right? But my fucked up head is, okay, it's a bad day, so their overall total load's probably down like 100 pounds, right? So we can push super, super hard on this really bad day, which most people would say don't do it because the fatigue is too high. You don't want to overtrain. I'm looking at it as, well, the workload's also really fucking low. Yeah. Because it's a bad day. Yeah. And now they're going to be able to strain really, really hard with 550, which may normally be a 5. Yep. And if they mentally can wrap their head around the fact that they're not weaker, it's just that bad day, then we can get what you're talking about with way lower load. Yep. But that's not the intent of why we're doing it. And I think that's the missed thing with a lot of people is the intent of when they're training, what is the intent? What's the outcome of that lift that they're trying to derive from that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I think this is a huge thing, by the way. When did that connect with you?
I guess I can give you an example. So my coach, Mike Skiba, he does waves, right? So like first week wave, it might be like briefs only, and then we'll go to briefs and reps and then full suit. So it's almost the same idea. So like I'm doing a max effort, it's briefs only. It's gonna be less weight, obviously, right? And then I'll go up the following week, I might squat 50 to 75 pounds more because I threw reps on. And then I'm gonna go full kit the next week, might go up 100, 150 pounds. So like you're still exerting as much force as you can.
Yes.
You're just wearing less gear.
Yes.
You know, so same kind of idea. You're like still exerting, like an all out 1 rep max or whatever the case may be, even if it's reps. Yeah.
So what happens on week 4? Is it new movement?
It could be, so I know you said you don't like the word deload, but it could be like a deload. Now we're not doing nothing. Like we're still training. But
intentional deloads are where I have the issue because let's say it's a new movement, right? And you're sticking to the same loading scheme that you're talking about. This new movement is going to be just back to briefs.
Yeah.
So the weight's going to drop.
It's going to drop already.
Which is called a deload.
Correct.
Like it's an intentional deload, right? Because it's structurally built in.
Yep.
The ones where I'm like every 4 weeks you have to have a fucking week off. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, that's like, what, 10 weeks out of a year?
That's actually a lot, yeah.
Before you have any vacation days, or before you get sick or whatever.
Coming off of meat or whatever.
Yeah, then you add it all up over a year and it's like, motherfucker, there's like 18 weeks you're not training. Because you have to have these stupid fucking deloads where if you just plan your training accordingly, which does have waves, then what do you need it for? Yeah.
Or you could do something like, say like someone like tweaked their pec or something, right? All right, that doesn't mean you have to deload your squat and deadlift.
Exactly.
So take same thing. Oh, you tweaked my hamstring a little bit. All right, I can still do something, maybe not pull heavy. So you're taking deloads based on your body. It's not necessarily just doing it just because.
What have you found training wise that helped you get to an elite level, whatever the elite total is now, it changes over time. But let's go with that one first because it changes.
Yeah.
So what did you find the most beneficial to help get to that first elite level?
Mindset. I was stuck at 1,000 pounds for years. I hit my first 1,000 pound squat in 2019. And then I stayed around that level until like a little less than 2 years ago. So like for 4 years, I didn't even PR my squat. They just, trained hard, but I just, and another thing, sorry to go a different route here, but also I wasn't in the gear that often either. I was in briefs a lot. I was doing box squats a lot, but I wasn't doing like just a free squat, full kit squat. So every time I got into the suit, it felt like it just didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel natural at all. Now I can throw my suit on and it feels normal. It feels natural. It feels like it should feel. So that's definitely number one. Just be in the equipment more. So throw the suit on, loose straps, and then you need to practice on tightening those straps up over and over and over again until you can handle it. Andrew Pfeff from Hellbent, he squatted 1,200 earlier in the year too, and he wears such tight gear, but he can handle it. So like that's what the sport is, wearing equipment. So just if you can handle it and you can, your technique's good, you're still able to sit back without your knee shooting forward. Like that's what you need to practice. So that's what's going to put weight on the bar is just the wearing tighter gear, being able to handle it. I always tell everyone, if you're going to be a successful multi-ply lifter, you need to be good with pain and you need to be good at handling pressure from the gear itself.
We live in some crazy times right now where there's not a day that I don't go on the internet and I see some BS crap about this research study or this research study. This isn't new. I've been in this industry for 4 decades. One thing that's helped me is 8 years ago, the Mass Research Review started and became a godsend. The Mass Research team are professional researchers that are also meatheads. So they've done this great job of being able to take all these topics and put them into this research review that I get every month. I'm excited to partner with them. I spoke with Eric Helms about this on the podcast. It's simple, it's easy. They're offering a 20% discount to all podcast listeners. The code is elitefts20. When you join, you get the research review, which is going to be sent to you every single month that has 7 to 9 articles in there. The archive, which is 1,500 articles, thousands of videos. Just head over to massresearchreview.com and use the code elitefts20. The link will be in the description. once you started squatting over a grand, did you find you had the frequency had to drop of the heavy squats?
No, I actually, like I said, I know you're gonna disagree with this too, but I actually started going like how Skiba programs, we're going heavy like all the time. Like it's crazy. Like the preps are brutal, but you're very prepared for the meet. I actually dropped off my accessory work a little bit.
What do you mean all the time?
Like in prep, like we're like, say there's a 10-week prep, I'm in my suit 7 times.
Okay.
Squatting like full kick, like crazy.
Okay.
And then
continue with what you said. You dropped off.
I dropped off like some of my so I don't sound like a pussy.
No, go ahead and say what you're saying.
Yeah, I dropped off some of my like difficult accessory work. I know that sounds horrible, but I would more or less use like more machines.
Yep.
And stuff like that. I dropped the volume off a little bit. It's the only way I could recover. You know, I tried 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day, 8 to 10 hours of sleep. I just wasn't recovering no matter what I did. So I just backed off on like, you know, like instead of doing like extremely heavy RDLs or something like that, I would do like back extensions with like bands and chains or something like that. So like it would just not beat up my body as much, you know?
The way that I like to explain auto-regulation is I kind of relate it to a video game. Like the energy bar.
Yeah.
I did a whole segment on trying to relate this to Super Mario World, right? And so if you have, through every world, you have these little territories. Yeah. Right? The territories are like each training week, right? You can't get through the first neighborhood and if your energy bar goes to 0, you're fucking dead. Yeah. You got to like start over, right? So the way you keep the energy bar strong is you collect coins and recuperate. But every training session, you want to go in with, it's never going to be 100%, right? Because there's always fatigue and all this other stuff. But say you go into like 70%, that's the energy bar. You can dwindle that down to maybe 20%. For that training session. Yeah. You go lower than that, you're not going to be able to recover for the bench or whatever is going to be the next training session. Now, if after that first movement, you go from 70% to 20%, your best call to auto-regulate is to dump everything else that's in there. Instead of forcing it, then going negative 30%. Exactly. Which at best, you might be able to bring it up to like positive 20% for your next training day, which it's not just the next training, it's the next training week too. So if more energy, right, and fatigue is being accumulated in that first movement, everything else has to change. Now, if that first movement on some days, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't take as much out of you, then you're going to push that one accessory a little bit harder, 100%, right? Because you know exactly how much energy you can't kill at all. Exactly. Right, to be able to go there. And that's why something like that can work. Now, if somebody's trying to do that and keep in all the workload of all the other stuff, they're fucked. Yeah. You know, unless they very slowly, I mean, it's doable. I don't want to say it's not doable because CrossFit athletes train 8 hours a day. It's doable, but it's a very, really slow process.
I want to be clear too, though. Like that's for me. Like, if I'm training my guys, like they're not at the level I'm at, they're not hitting those huge weight sets, like crippling them a little bit. You know, have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. So no, I'm not going to train them the same way whatsoever. Like I'm going to have them, you know, work up to something heavy, and I give them hard stuff to do because especially they're in their early 20s. Like I did that when I was in my early 20s too. You get to a certain level, like you do have to change some things.
Oh yeah, it goes to what we were talking about earlier. What's the motor recruitment look like? Yeah. You know, how much energy is being exhausted in one rep, you know, through that, and how tight is the technique? Yeah. You know, because when the technique gets super tight and then that rep is really good, I mean, if your technique still kind of sucks and there's a lot of leakage, I don't want to say it's not really 100%, but it's really not. Yeah. Because you're missing the weight because of the leakage. Exactly. And you see all this, you may miss lifts, right? Just because something wasn't in the right spot and it looks like it killed you. Yeah. But it didn't. Yeah. Right? Because it's just a little leakage and you just got to tighten that one thing up. 100%. Happens to me a lot actually with my squat sometimes. I'm either really good or really bad. So like I've competed at meets where like I fall, like free fall. Like I lose tightness, I just lose tension and I fall. And it looks horrible. Like it looks like I died. And people are like, oh, you're still gonna go? I'm like, yeah, I'm still gonna go. I'm not hurt. So I just, you know, I retake it and I come back and I hit it. You know, it's well see that's when that happens, you don't have all the tension dissipating throughout your entire body. Correct. Yeah. Right. That's why you fell. That's why I missed. Right. So it's not as exhausting. No. Than if you actually had a strong setup. Yep. You know, and then start
grinding through it. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's a key thing that goes there. So to go back to what I was trying to get out of you from the first question was how did you train? You know, so you got, say it's conjugate, you got linear periodization, you know, so it's going to change after you squat over a grand. So on the way up to a grand, how would you define your training protocol?
So at that point, it was like very traditional conjugate, you know, speed bench, heavy squat. The only thing that was a little bit differently, now I could be wrong, but like old school, like West Side conjugate, it was, you guys didn't really deadlift that often, right? It was just kind of max effort movement. So you might deadlift 1 week, squat 1 week, do good mornings 1 week or something like that, right? So the way I train, so that's how I kind of trained for a while. And then we kind of changed over to the, you know, we would squat on Fridays. I would still deadlift very heavy on Mondays, and then traditional speed bench and then heavy bench. Now it's a little bit different. So I still deadlift and squat heavy so I actually squat heavy every single week now, every single week. And then same thing with deadlift. So deadlift, I might squat a little bit light first and then hit my deadlifts. So that really hasn't changed too much either. The only thing that really changed, I'm not doing traditional speed work anymore. We kind of do like a rep bench, like a 6x6 or something like that. And so like week 1, I'll have them, you know, do like a, you know, certain percentage or whatever. And then I'll have them, you know, throw 10 pounds on the bar every week. So it's like a wave. I wave that. And then after that,
did that change because of
kind of experimenting a little bit, to be honest with you. When I was coaching people and they were doing the speed bench before, I don't want to say they weren't getting carryover. They were. I wanted to put more muscle on them, to be honest with you. That was more or less the main reason I did that.
Well, what I wonder with that is the carryover out of unlimited shirts is way higher.
Yeah.
Right. It's multiply. I can say it's way higher than what we would get, right? And I'm not saying that to be the old fucker that says, oh, we could have got this out of there. If some were still getting 300 pounds, still competing. Yeah. But 300 pounds out of a multiply poly shirt is really good. It's
very good.
It's very good. I mean, that's
elite.
That's a very good elite goal.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's not going to be that, but
no.
When you got to that top end in the multiply, the speed work became a little bit of this issue. Because like percent of what?
Yeah.
Right. Because, you know, and if you go, you know, 60% of what you would be raw, right? Then the weight's so low, the correspondence isn't there.
Exactly.
And you can't do the speed work with the bench shirt.
Yeah.
And this gets compounded when you get into unlimited shirts, right? Because now you got way bigger carryovers. Like let's say Jimmy Cole was to do speed work.
Yeah.
Like with what?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And if he was to do raw speed work, like a lot of people would, I don't know if they would still suggest it because I don't pay that much attention. Yeah. But a lot of people in the conjugate camp would say, you know, imagine if he just did the raw speed work. I'm like, okay, first off, we got to kind of figure out what he could bench raw.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a stretch, but whatever. Let's just say it's 700.
Yeah.
Just throw a number out there.
Yeah.
All right. So then it's going to be 350. The motherfucker bench is 1,400 pounds.
Well, how is that even going to help him?
You know, so how's this 350 have any transference unless he's using, you know, a Widowmaker or something like that to fill the gap.
Exactly.
You know, to be able to
do a speed work like 700, 800, 900 pounds with a
and in my geek way, I'm always interested in how people navigate that territory because
it's so new.
You have to fill the gap to where the load is actually going to be representative of enough force to be able to have any dynamic correspondence to the main load that you're going to lift.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you still need to build that raw base, you know, so you don't fucking kill yourself if the bar goes sideways, right? Which can happen there too. Yep. And so it's interesting to see how different people navigate it. Some are using like the Widowmaker and stuff like that. A lot of people are just defaulting back into old school 5.5s, you know, and stuff like that. And then just kind of chipping it up from there. But you still have a gap, you know, if it's that unlimited. Exactly. Because the weight's still way too light for what that unlimited carryover would be. Exactly. So then you have that, and then immediately after that, you may put like a Widowmaker or something like that on just to work up a couple more work sets.
100%. So for my raw guys, I would have them maybe go like 3 sets of 6 raw, and then I'd have them throw like maybe a slingshot on or something like that. With the geared guys, exactly. I'll have them do 3 sets of 6, throw on a Widowmaker for, you know, it's 3 sets of 6 in that as well.
So for the raw guys, it's how low are you trying to keep the carryover? Because I mean, a slingshot's like no carryover.
Yeah, maybe 50 pounds.
So 50
I think
pounds.
It depends on like what the raw bench is. You know, if it's like someone like benching like 250, I think that's plenty. If it's someone that's benching 400 or 500 pounds, yeah, I think a better overload would probably be like a single ply Widowmaker, maybe even a 2-ply Widowmaker.
It's like 100, 150 pounds.
Maybe even more, yes.
But you're not trying to max it out with the heaviest. I think that's key, right? Because if they're trying to train to bench 455 raw, yeah, I'm fucking 4 plates and a quarter, right? Actually, the bar's now for 65.
Yeah.
So it fucks everything.
Yeah.
Then if they do 700 pounds in a Widowmaker, it's not going to make any fucking difference. You know, I think they would get more out of it if it was 600 to 625, 635 with less of the help,
Yeah.
you know, out of the bottom.
Yeah.
Because that difference in the help is only ego, right?
Agreed,
And joint.
Yeah.
You know, how much joint compression, forearm compression. Like, they don't need to fucking break their forearms down if they're raw benching. You do.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole different thing.
Exactly.
Where now you have to like microfracture. We started off talking about how safe this was. Now we're talking about how you need to microfracture your forearms to be able to bench more. Yeah. And it's kind of going the other direction. So when you had to pivot the training, it sounds like all you did there was because of the load and the fatigue, you know, increases. You just had to basically find what you had to pull out. Yeah. You know, so it goes from when you're younger, and these would be your younger lifters, of working and finding out what your maximal recovery volume and intensity is. Then as you get older and more matured as a lifter, you need to figure out what the minimal
100%
is.
And it's tough sometimes because like I'm only 32. Like I want to be in the gym. I mean, I am in the gym every day, but I want to be like lifting, you know, and sometimes it's tough to kind of be like, all right, look, do you want to, you know, train really, really hard? I don't want to say train hard. I'm always training hard, but more or less like, do I need to stop now? Because like at the end of the day, all I care about is numbers on the platform. Yeah. So if I'm killing myself and I can't even compete, like what are we doing here? You know? And like, it's tough too, because I've heard other people talk about like, you know, like you want to be that tough guy, blah, blah, blah. And like, I get it. But at the same time, like my goal is to hit these numbers at the meet. Like that's what I want to do. And if I have to take a little bit of a back seat, I will. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. It definitely is hard, but I will.
So I would fall in the camp that I would say the majority, not all, the majority of the people need to have at some point that tough, crazy ass, stupid fucking mentality. Yep. In their 20s.
Oh, yep. Already did that. Exactly.
While they're young enough to be able to know what it is. Yep. And then have the discipline to know when to pull it out, because it's not necessary. Yeah. Right. Actually, I think it is necessary, you know, but it's not necessary for the reasons people think it is. It's necessary for the mental fortitude that it takes to be able to handle the pressure that you're going to have under any of these maximal loads, raw or with gear. Gear is just, the tension's just way higher. Yeah. You know, it's in there. But if they try to do it when they're in their mid 30s and they have wear and tear or older, it's Russian roulette, man. Good luck.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not. That's when you can't figure out your minimal effective volume if you don't know what the maximal is.
Agreed. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
100% what you mean. Yeah.
You know,
it's like kind of going back to earlier where you were saying like, you're not going to know what 100% is unless you actually do it.
Yeah. And it's fucked up as lifters, because what you had to do to get to where you wanted to go is not what you need to do to move forward.
100%.
And that's true with anything in life. Yep. You know, it's a mind fuck. Yeah. Right. Because your default is, you know, and that's not kind of how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
With the lifters that you have in the gym, you have a spectrum of different strength levels that are in there. Let's go with one lift at a time. With their squat, what do you see on average they're screwing up when they first come in? When they first come in, that they're screwing up the most. Or if visitors come in. Yep. Not experienced visitors.
Non-experienced visitors. Okay. Probably just rushing, to be honest with you. Rushing the setup, rushing everything. Not bracing, not staying tight. I feel like that's like 90% probably. Yeah, just rushing the setup, not staying tight. Really simple, but that's what I.
It is, but That falls into
how to breathe, just simple stuff.
It falls into the intent.
Yeah.
That a couple weeks ago I was asked what I think is the number one fault or the number one mistake in powerlifting, and it's the lack of intent.
Yeah.
Because let's stay with the squat. I don't care if the person is a beginner is a different story. Intermediate and above, right? Beginners just have to train, right? So but intermediate and above, they'll go into the gym and they think they have intent. My intent is I'm going to do 500 for a triple. My intent is going to do max effort work. My intent is I'm going to be in briefs and wraps and so forth. And that's where the intent ends, right? So then if you watch them, and let's go with a raw lifter that walks it out.
Yep.
The walkout with the bar looks like horse shit. There's no intent.
Yep.
Nothing actually looks like an actual squat that would be a work set until they get to like 80%, which would make up 80% of all repetitions they're going to do that day, right? So 80% of the technique they practiced that day was horse shit with no intent, with no real focus on what they're doing with their feet, with the rooting, the bracing, which is all kind of easier to do when it's just a bar, because you just slow it down, right? And then when they get to the heavier weight, then, oh, okay, I need to make sure my walkout's right.
Yes.
It's like, motherfucker, right? If you played sports, right?
Practice how you play.
If you went out and all the drills you did were like shit,
half-assed,
and then you go on the field to play the game, you're like, okay, now I'm going to do these all right.
Should have been doing that the whole time.
And no shit, and that's they're not going in with, here's the physical intent, but here's the mental intent. I'm going to make sure that every single set I do this day, my feet are rooted exactly how they're supposed to be.
Do everything the same from the bar all the way up to your top set.
Yeah.
100%.
And if they got a lot to work on, if it's rooting, bracing, lats, just pick one. This is my intent for this day. And the same thing holds true even with the advanced lifters. It's like, what's your intent? I'm going to just fucking hit heavy double. Okay, really? Like, we've been telling you for 3 weeks, you need to learn how to pack your fucking lats and, keep your chin tucked. How about you add that to your list and start doing that from set one? And kind of work up from there. And because meanwhile, what happens is you end up trying to tell the person after the lift, look, that kind of looked like crap. Because you're not keeping your head in the right position. You're not tucking your lats. It should be that intent. It should be in there. And if that's taught at the intermediate level, more things become automatic. Like if I was to watch you squat, we can probably find one or two things.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe. I mean, it's the load. Load's got to be high. You got to, it's got to be exposed. Right. But you're going to find one because a lot of the other things are just automatic.
Yes. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's just, you drilled into your head a million times. You don't have to, I tell that the same thing to my guys too. You're going to do it so many times. I'm not going to have to keep telling you to do it eventually. Like, you're just going to know how to do it. You're not even have to think. It's going to come natural.
Which is great, because the things they're going to need help with as they get to a higher level are going to be way more nuanced.
And there's going to be way less things that you have to correct too.
And you want those all gone.
100%.
Like if I'm trying to find something wrong with your squat, I don't want to worry about 90% of the other stupid shit
that you shouldn't have to be worrying about.
It's like, it's just one thing you got to do to be able to fit. And you know this now, because when you go train with different crews that have different people, they're going to find one little thing because the other 90% are taken care of. So if we jump over to the bench, what would be the thing that you see there? Intermediates.
It's usually the same thing. It's just kind of like free falling, not staying tight, not engaging your lats. Feet, a lot of feet juggling up and down. They're not rooting their feet into the ground. But those are probably the two things.
Deadlift.
Simple. Deadlift. Oh boy.
I know that's.
Oh boy. Not knowing how to lock in your lats, engage your lats. They just grab the bar, kind of cat backed, and just pull it. Like you said though, in deadlifts, there's just so many things that can go wrong.
That's something I want. So for your deadlift, if we're to look at how you set up your deadlift, because this is a different movement because there's no eccentric. Exactly. And a lot of times people will begin to set up their deadlift before they go down and grab it, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's fine, but it's kind of weird because you go down, then everything breaks. then you got to like reset it all again.
Yeah.
So how do you go about setting up for the deadlift through, let's just go with the setup first, and then what happens? No, all the way to when the plates break the floor.
Okay. So I'm not the best. So I'm a good deadlifter. I have a good number. My form is not very good. I'm going to be working with a couple of people on that. But my setup in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I wear a squat suit. I can't get another air when I'm in the bottom. So I get a big air at the top. I reach down with my underhand, grab with my overhand, and I hinge back and I try to pull I always tell everyone when I'm deadlifting too, and it's kind of like same thing with squatting too, but when you're deadlifting, grab the bar and then I kind of tell them like go like 10%, 20%, 30% until you start pulling the slack out, and then as soon as that slack's out, then you go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
Try to do that, engage my lats, and
So you get your air at the top.
Hopefully if I drop a weight class, I can change that up a little bit if I need to, but because another reason I miss my deadlift sometimes is my grip. So that's rushing, grabbing the bar quickly so I can, get enough air in where I'm not passing out. Because that's another problem I have with deadlifts too, is I kind of go out a little bit.
All right. So let's go through the squat.
Yeah.
Maximum weight, full gear.
Yep.
From the chalk box to the completion of the lift, in detail what you do.
What do I do on the setup, or just like the whole thing?
But I mean, I want the setup to start with either when you grab the bar. Some people set their feet before they grab the bar.
Yeah.
Right. So I want it, like 6 inches away from the bar.
Yeah. So I'll walk up to the bar, chest up against the bar.
Okay.
Put my chin over the bar, look where my feet are, try to make them kind of where my laces are. And then,
what do you mean where the laces are?
So like where the.
You want the bar to line up with the
kind of my middle of my foot.
Okay.
More or less the middle of my foot.
So you're looking through.
Yeah, I'm looking through, looking down, where my feet are. Then I'll get myself under the bar. Someone usually will push me under the bar. And then, like it's kind of said with the other thing with the easing out, I'll get under the bar, I'll look at something, and I'll ease it out. So like I'm like squeezing 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% until the bar comes off the hooks. I'm not jamming the bar up.
Squeezing through where? Through your feet, through your back?
I would say my feet and my hips.
Okay.
I would say my feet and my hips. Yep. And I'm spreading the floor. Come up, pick the weight, let it settle for a second. And then, like you kind of said, I don't really think that much when I'm squatting.
Where does the breathing come in? Where's the breathing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I get one big breath before I pick the weight.
Okay.
And I hold my breath the entire time until I rack it. But
now with that breath, are your hips back or your hips forward?
My hips are forward.
Okay. So you're breathing when you're right when your hips come under.
Yep. So I come here.
Okay.
Get my breath there. So I'm already ready. I'm already in position. I'm ready to go. And then like you kind of, we were talking about right before, I don't really think that much when I'm squatting because I've done it a million times. It's just kind of natural. But the only thing I'm thinking about is just pushing my butt back as far as I can to the wall. And then opening up and then keeping my back tight. I'm not really overly analyzing. I'm not really overly thinking,
But you're processing as soon as you pick the weight up. And here's where I'm going. If it was misloaded a plate per side, you would know as soon as you picked it up.
Of course,
right? Because there is feedback that's kind of going on.
Absolutely.
And so as you pick it up, as you're letting the weight settle, you don't go until a certain point.
Yes.
And that point is typically when you feel tension where
I'm feeling tension.
Like, how do you know when to squat?
When I squat?
I mean, there is a squat command, but most of the time you're not.
I'm not going right. Either not hearing it or you're not even listening.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just pick it up as soon as the bar settles and I feel stable. When I feel stable, I'm ready to go.
Stable where?
Just like the bar's not going like wobbling back and forth. I'm locked in, lats back.
So your lats are stable.
Yeah, but I'm also doing that before I'm even picking. Like I'm not like some people you see them, they get a breath at the top and they're like moving their back around and stuff.
All right, let's say you pick, right?
Yeah.
And it's 10% not stable like it should be.
Yeah.
What correction are you making? Right, because you're not going to put. I mean, you'll fall over, right? Which you've done, but you'll fall over. But normally, you're going to pick it up, and it's a tiny bit off.
Yep.
Is it packing your lats down? Is it pulling your chin back? Like, what is when it's not exactly where it needs to be?
Usually it's just my feet aren't in the right position, to be honest with you.
You'll have to.
That's it. Yeah, just re-rack it, fix my feet. But I usually don't have that issue though, because what I'm doing when I get onto the bar, the reason why I'm going 10%, 20%, 30% before I pick it, I'm checking to see where like my feet are. If I feel like I'm on my toes, I got to fix my feet real quick.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
when I have the little clinics that everybody fucking should probably hear this. If they're using a monolift, like a walkout's going to be a little bit different. It amazes me the number of people that don't do what you just said. Yeah. Right. Just put 10 or 20% effort, not a lot, into the bar just to make sure your feet are where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's simple, but
it's very simple.
Very simple.
Right. But a lot of times it's not, you know, and all you got to do is release a little tension, move the foot.
I don't even know who showed me that, but it's just so simple. But most people aren't thinking just to do that at all. And I show a couple of people like, oh my gosh, but I wish I could give credit to who showed it to me, but I don't even remember who did it. Yeah.
So then when you're starting the descent, where do you feel most of the tension? Outside of your head. So before it gets in your head, because that's like halfway down.
I'm trying to think real quick. Probably
quads.
It's going to sound weird, but I probably like my shoulders, to be honest with you, because as soon as I pick it, I'm getting back my suit. So I try to wear my straps as tight as I can. That's how I'm going to get the carryover. So I think as soon as I push so my first movement is here, and then I'm almost like hinging slightly and pushing my butt back and then opening up. So as soon as I start going down, I really feel the straps start to catch my chest. And I don't want to say I don't have to worry about my back tightness, because you do, but the straps are kind of keeping you upright. So you don't really have to worry about it. That's a little secret that Mike Skiba told me. So you're picking it, you're getting back, and then as soon what I'm feeling is tension and like from the straps and my shoulders, believe it or not. I know that sounds weird, but yeah.
All right. And then when you're called up, where do you feel you've done? This is a tough question for you to answer. What are you trying to make move first? We can stay up. Some people are going to say, look, I flex hard with the quad. Some people are going to say, I try to pull my, shoulders back.
I'm just trying to spread the floor apart. Probably my hips. I would say my hips more than anything. Yeah.
So you're feeling the tension through the hip flexors because of the suit.
Hip flexor.
So that builds. Now, when you feel that tension through the suit, through the hip flexors, are you also feeling it through, are you feeling it through the groin, which I don't think you would be because you're sitting back instead of plieing. So do you feel it through the groin or do you feel it through the ass?
Ass and abductors,
Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting into the nuances of multiply, right?
Yeah.
And where some people, it's kind of like a plie.
Yeah.
And they got to write it down through and make sure they feel everything right in the crotch. Like it's just smashing their fucking dick all the way, their ball sack all the way down, right?
Yeah.
Where the other ones are going to go back, but if you're going to go back, you got to be flaring hard.
Correct.
To be able to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So if we get into the bench, what's the setup look like there? Full gear.
Boy. So I tried to change.
Let's go another way. What do you need to work on?
For my bench? Number one, just get the shoulder healthy. But in general, just I'm trying to think exactly. I feel like the biggest thing with the bench is just dealing with the pressure, right? So like for me, like I like being in the shirt, at least twice a month and just dealing with that pressure. I feel like multiply in general is like just dealing with the pressure. Because like if you, like, I don't know about you, when you lifted, do you feel like you're going to pass out a lot? Like just the pressure in your head, like nosebleeds and all that stuff. So I feel like if you just get your CNS ready for that all the time, like, and like you asked me this 6 years ago before I started doing this, I'd be like, I don't really like this. Like you're just going heavy all the time. Like, but like you just need to practice how you play. Like that's why my squat went up 200 pounds. I don't think I got stronger, of course, but I was capable of squatting 850 back then when I was only squatting 1,000. Now I can probably squat 9. So I did get stronger, but my squat went up over 200 pounds. It's just being in the gear constantly and just practicing, stretching the equipment out, use the gear. That's really the biggest thing. Just keep getting in the shirt over and over again. I don't think there's something I necessarily have to work on per se. Just keep getting my triceps stronger and just get used to that pressure in the shirts. Practice. Just being in the shirt, practicing the touch pattern.
You make a good point, because if we're talking the geared lifting, I'm trying to figure out how to word this in such a way that a general audience will be able to understand, but I don't know if I really care. Your total can go up 150 to 200 pounds from one year to the next year.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be any stronger than you currently are.
Yep.
But the caveat to that is you have the strength, your ability to express it, and the gear has not been developed.
Correct. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So that's the gap when it comes into, that's what I always liked about the geared lifting, right? Is I've also said if you can jump on a curb, you can squat 400 pounds. So it's, there's enough force there, but because there's a deficit between how strong you are and then what you can do on the gear. And the whole game is to decrease that deficit, as much as you possibly can, which means there's going to be a lot of meets you're going to do that you're going to leave and feel like you might have left 250 pounds on right? Which,
yep.
Good, right? You figure out how to go get that next time. But I think that once you get to the level that you're at, in a weird way, people are overemphasizing getting stronger physically, right? And they're doing it to the demise of what their total can be, right? Because they're already strong enough physically to be able to do way more, because the technical and when they push it to get stronger physically, their bodies begins to break down and fall apart because of the wear and tear that they have associated with that. Where if they focus on the carryover, the technique, dialing in the gear, then that's where the numbers come from anyhow.
100%, yeah.
And anybody that's doing it knows it. Because you've all competed against somebody or have somebody that you train with that out of nowhere just put 150 pounds on their lift. And you're like, what the fuck? And maybe even got physically weaker. In the process. But the word weaker is the thing that kind of throws me off because they're not. You're just expressing your strength more effectively.
Exactly.
And I would say this still applies even into raw lifting as well because of the technique and so forth. That if their technique just looks for shit, their peaking sucks. They don't know how to peak, deload, structure their training for me, then they're capable of totaling way more than they do because they're physically strong enough to do it. They just are not setting themselves up in a position to be able to do it.
Correct.
Because it's funner to train super, super hard and do stupid shit and total less and get hurt.
That's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like I want to do that obviously, right? Like, but you just need to, like, what's more important to you? Is that more important to you, being like a badass or tough guy or whatever, or is the numbers more important to you? And I don't, like I said, for me, I want numbers, right? That's why we do powerlifting in the first place. But yeah, so I think there's like a fine line, but.
Well, there's a super fine line when you're dealing with multiply because you're lifting heavier loads. So there's greater systemic fatigue. There's greater, just to recover from the, as you already said, just to recover from the main thing. So now you got to fix, especially if you're trying to dial something in, 60% isn't going to help you for shit. If it's a bench or sit, you have to be able to train it at a higher percentage.
Exactly.
Longer period of time and then recover from that. Which is, as I'm sure you found out, is where nutrition begins to matter more, sleep begins to matter more.
Big time.
All those other things. So when did that click for you, that those things, I like to say that we all conveniently like to go all in on the things we like to go in all in on, not necessarily the things that we want to go all in on.
Lifting's easy for us. We enjoy it. Sometimes it's, it's hard not to go to the bar. It's hard not to go, when you're in prep, you're eating junk food and stuff like that, like obviously junk food's going to put the weight up, but you still got to eat 80% of that healthy stuff too, or your body's going to go to crap. But I think when I figured out that was, it's probably like 4 years ago when I started training with Mike, my numbers started increasing. And then that's when I knew, like, all right, you have to lock it in. You have to dial in your nutrition because I wasn't recovering well. And, the stronger I got, I had to lock in even more. I had to reach that 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day. I had to sleep 8 to 10 hours a day. Even still, when I was still doing that, I'd still wake out of bed. I'd still be limping to the bathroom the first 20 steps, But yeah, that definitely. The thing is too, when I was only squatting 1,000 pounds for 4 or 5 years, like I was already squatting mid-8s raw. So I was already like that 150 pound gap. It wasn't like destroying me. You know what I mean? Now that I'm squatting maybe 9 raw and I'm squatting 12, like that 300 pound gap, it's beating my body up big time. So I do have to back off some of the stuff that I don't necessarily want to back out, but I got to be smart. I got to lock in my nutrition better too.
Dave Tate here from Elite FTS to talk to you about bands. We've been a supplier of bands for almost 2 decades now. So I've known my way around the band landscape. When I'm talking about bands, I'm talking about floss bands, long bands, short bands, bands you can use for resistance training, mobility training, body weight training, and flossing. One of our most popular bands, or actually our most popular bands, are the long bands. The long bands are typically used the most with squats, bench presses. Our floss bands are bands that you wrap around the joint to be able to help with mobility, circulation. And the short bands are designed for shorter range movements, bench press, deadlifts, and a lot of times people will use them with resistance machines to help accommodate the strength resistance curve. Head over to elitefts.com and look for bands in the toolbar or blowout menu.
Everything. Everyone wants to lift, but no one wants to do the little things that you have to do to keep increasing. It's tough.
How were you doing all this when you were still working 9 to 5 work?
Before
the gym.
So I was still doing everything, but now that this is my full-time job now, it's all I do. Of course, I can put way more into it now. I can set up my training schedules for an hour and then, all right, I give my 30-minute gap for food. It's not a physically demanding job being a trainer, not really. I might load some plates for people, but it's not like before. I was doing corrections. I was doing 72 hours a week. I was still training, sleeping 3 hours, I was eating okay, but it wasn't the same.
Shifts as well? Or were you on the same shift?
In terms of what do you mean? I'm sorry.
Well, you said corrections. So was it rotating shifts?
No, I was doing, it was 5 on 2 off. So I had 2 days off, but I was doing 16-hour shift, doubles every day, basically. So, of course, going from that to this, of course I'm going to get stronger. I'm recovering better and stuff like that. But when the weights went up, that's when I really started dialing everything even more. Because all right, I squatted 12. I'm not happy with that. I want even more. So I'm going to have to even go further now, At the
same time, your income changes.
Oh, of course. Yes. I was making a lot more. Well, at the time I was making more money for sure.
Yes. So you still have to, you still own the gym.
Yeah.
So how do you mitigate the interruptions during the training sessions that really matter?
That people know. I'm very blunt. I will tell people, hey, look, I'm training. Don't bother me right now. My wife's here or she's not here. I don't really care. I hate to say that. I don't want to be a jerk. I own a business, but training's still very important to me, and and the thing is too, so say someone wants to come in, sign up for the gym or whatever, I'll tell them, hey, sign up sheets over there, just sign up, you're good right now, just sign the waiver, you're good, we'll worry about payment later. If I'm training, I'm not letting any outside noise bother my training at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's your typical day look like?
I usually get to the gym around 11. That's usually my first client. My wife gets there early in the morning around 7. She leaves around 5 or 6 and I stay until the nighttime. It depends on the day, 8, 10 o'clock. It depends on clients and stuff like that. But I'll usually train people 11, it depends if they sign up, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, usually around 3. I'm stopped. I train at 5 usually. So I'll give myself from 4 to 5 to, hydrate more, eat more, whatever the case may be. And then after my training around 7, I'll have maybe 2 more clients at the end of the night.
Do you leave and come back during that time?
Nope. I'm about 30 something minutes from gym. So I just stay at the gym the entire day. Yeah.
You have no problem with that?
Nah, I don't care. At the corrections, I was driving over an hour every single day. Yeah. I'd rather not drive that much, but.
Well, the reason I ask is I know some people that are in that same situation and they physically just need to leave to be able to walk into the gym, being the other person.
Yeah. No, I don't mind. Yeah. I love this. I enjoy it. Now I've only been doing it for less than 3 years though too.
Yeah.
So now maybe if I'm doing it for 10, 15 years, maybe that's a different story. But no, I actually like being there. Yeah.
What do you wish you knew about opening a gym
when I first started?
When you first started that you know now?
I think more so just this is really simple, but advertising, just trying to get people in, just simple stuff like that. Is that kind of what you're asking? That kind of stuff? Yeah, just more advertising. I was hoping I was hoping that everyone would just come to me, and that's just not the case. You have to reach out, you have to advertise, you have to, have a social media person. You got to do all those things. Unfortunately, people aren't just going to walk through your door. You have to show them a product, and But yeah, that'd probably be the main thing. That and I would say that's the main thing. Yeah. Yeah,
you're being conservative. because having your own
I'm sure I can think of way more things
I mean, having your own business is also a giant fucking clusterfuck.
Oh yeah. So, so we actually just moved gyms. I was in an area about 15 minutes away. Now we moved to this other location, and me and my wife were dealing with problems with the building more than anything. Leaks everywhere. AC units would die out. Heat would die out. In the area that we were in at the time, like it was a pretty bad area. A lot of homeless people, drugs. You know, you'd see like needles on the ground, and you know, it wasn't a good area at all. So I think that's another big thing too. Like I'm not gonna have, and there's a bunch of colleges around too. I'm not gonna have an 18 to 22-year-old college girl come to my gym. She's afraid. You know, so we moved out of there. We're in a much better area now. I think we've had 30 people sign up in the last month because we just moved there a month ago. So 30 sign-ups in a month is terrific.
Yeah.
And it's only getting better. So yeah.
Okay. So you would have opened, well, it's tricky, right? Because you can't afford it, right?
100%. That's another thing too. So yeah, maybe look a little bit better for a gym, but yeah. At the end of the day though, you know, you gotta make a decision, and you know, you gotta live with it. Kind of, you know, things happen for a reason kind of thing. So I'm happy we still went through those struggles and stuff like that. Now we have a beautiful gym that we love. I have a huge field in the back that's all ours. I can do whatever I want back there. I have a big area, big parking lot, or asphalt parking lot. So at the other gym, I also had wooden floors. So we actually took the mats off the floor. I had a huge hole in the floor. It was wooden floors. My landlord probably wasn't too happy, but it is what it is. But now I have concrete floors, just everything better at the gym. I'm not stressed out ever. So I think that's the reason why, like, I just love being there. At the other place, yeah, I probably would want to take a little bit of a break, but I really don't at this other place.
Yeah. You can only do what you can afford to do though.
100%. At the end of the day, that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Yep.
Who are your clients? I mean, what's your client roster look like?
My clientele? A lot of everything, to be honest with you. And I keep my prices relatively affordable too, probably a little bit cheaper than like places around us, but I want to train everybody. Like I want to be able to train a 12-year-old athlete. I want to be able to train, you know, everyone. So I would say, you know, I have some kids that I train for sports and stuff like that. I have people wanting to lose weight, men and women. I have athletes. I just had a woman sign up at my gym. She's a pro Muay Thai fighter, so I started training her. So kind of a combination of everyone. I'd say most, like 75% though is just Gen Pop. And then I got some athletes and some kids and stuff like that as well.
I lived that life for a while. So
yeah,
it's, there's those... clients will listen to this. You've been doing this for a few years, right? Yeah. So there's like client turnover that happens with this too, but a lot of times they stay for a long time. Yeah. I remember the days where I'd walk in, I'd have this full booked day, and you kind of look and you'd be like, yeah, I have full. You know, there's like always that one person. Yeah. And I found ways to kind of get around it. How do you find ways to get around? And it's not like they're bad people, right? It's just boring as fuck. It's just, you know what I'm saying. Every trainer, I can't explain it, but every trainer listening to this knows what I'm talking about.
I know what you're saying too. So for me, so when I first opened the gym and stuff, I was like, all right, I'm going to train people, you know, my way and stuff like that, which I still do. But if I have a 40 or 50-year-old woman in there that's 300 pounds and she wants to lose weight, I'm not going to be screaming at her and stuff. Yeah. You know, that's what I wanted to do, right? Like I wanted to be that, like that strength and conditioning coach that, you know, was like that, but it's just not the case. So for me, I just have to change the way I train people. But yeah, you're right. Like if someone comes in, I'm like, oh, I have to train them today. Sorry. But if I got to train them today or whatever, I just kind of go through the motions with them, and I, you know, obviously correct their form and stuff like that. I always tell them, all right, range, like difficult range. And, you know, they're telling me a 7 out of 10, and I know it's not a 7 out of 10. So of course I'm trying to push them a little farther and stuff like that. But yeah, I have to change the way I train different people. And I really didn't want to do that. I kind of wanted to be just who I was. But right now, that's the name of the game. Like you said, just opened the gym 3 years ago, have different clients, can't pick and choose who I want to train either at this point either. So,
well, the key thing is, as long as they make progress, it doesn't matter.
100%. And they're happy. As long as they're making progress, they're happy. And like you said before, my turnover rates, like I might have lost 2 people since I've opened. Yeah. People, like for years, people keep coming, like, you know, that's why we have like personal training memberships. So they pay a certain price for the month. And I might have lost 2 people since we opened, you know, over almost 3 years ago. So it's working. It's going well. Yeah.
No, that's worse. So one of the things that I wish I would have done sooner because I did this for 15 years, is a friend of mine pointed out that the handful of the clients that I had for like 5 years, in a not even a polite way, it was like, dude, they look exactly the same.
Yeah.
They're lifting exactly the same. Everything they're doing is exactly the same. They might be a little bit fitter. Maybe they're mentally a little bit healthier, but you're not doing your fucking job. And then I said, I'll tell you what, because you have assessments.
Yeah.
Like I would have assessments.
Yeah.
Like you do the next assessments for me and then give them, back to me. And then I'll change based upon that, because I became very complacent.
Yeah.
With a lot of them. We're talking 5 years or more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And them as well.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't even want to say like a friend, like an associate that's almost a friend more than the actual trainer.
Yeah.
Is what it became.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think I was losing referrals from those people, because a lot of them you get great referrals from for the first year or so, then it begins to drop down, which kind of makes sense because their friend group isn't going to change that frequently. But when I did that, the referrals started to come back up again, and I started to like training a lot of the people more. I mean, I still like training everybody. I don't want to make it sound like I hated training.
Yeah.
But there's just ones like, oh God, this half hour is going to suck.
You have your favorites.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden it's because it broke into training, trying to find different training goals for each person that was different than what I had everybody striving for. Because I had a list of different objectives I'd like everybody to be able to meet that kind of fit the whole things. Yeah. And, some people care, some people don't care, but then it added different things, to kind of put in there. And then it was like, well, it challenged me. It's like, can I get this person to actually be able to do this? Because they're not going to show up more than once a week. Yeah. And then once a month they're going to cancel. So I got 3 opportunities to make it better, over a month to be able to hit this goal. How am I going to do this? And that kind of helped with that. With how many lifters do you have now that are
like powerlifters?
Yes, that are in
my crew.
In a crew. That's different.
We have a good amount. So I would say, like, as a whole, so like on Sunday squats, I have 15, 20 people show up, right? And like people drive, hour, 2 hours to come train. And then as a whole though, probably like 12. And then like on like a simple day, like a rep bench day or something, maybe 5 or 6 guys will come in, then maybe a couple hours, another like 4 or 5 will come in like that. But yeah, as a whole, I would say we have about 12 to 15 guys that are like, together all the time.
How did you build that? Because that's one of the questions I get asked a lot. Like, how do you build a crew?
I got very lucky, to be honest with you. So people knew who I was, obviously, around the area too. So I had a few guys just follow me, right, when I opened the gym. But a lot of the people I had, they were just members of my gym, and they saw what we were doing, and they like just liked it. They wanted to join. And like, some of these people, like, they were powerlifters. Some of them were even powerlifters. They were just strong. They joined the crew. It was really that simple. Like, they just saw what we were doing. They wanted to join. So most of the people just walked in the door, were members.
What if they're clients?
Yep.
And then they end up being part of the crew?
Yep.
How do you financially navigate that? Because usually if it's a powerlifting crew, there's a lot of people that you're not making money off your powerlifting crew. They're basically spotters, loaders, training partners. Yeah. But you are off the person that is a client, but then now they jump to the crew. How do you navigate that?
So I actually do make my crew pay me a little bit of money for like programming and coaching them. It's very cheap. But yeah, you're right. I am going to potentially lose some money, but
the reason I ask is a lot of people are in that boat. That have gyms like yours. Yeah. And some of them are like, well, fuck it. I don't know. I can't not.
I rather have a good training partner. Yeah. I know that might not be a good business move, but I rather have a really good training partner instead of like doing like one-on-one trainings with them. If they want to join the crew, I'll let them join the crew.
Crews change.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's weird. It's really weird. Yeah. Because you might have a couple anchors. And I even saw this the whole time I was at Westside. There might be like 2 or 3 anchors. Like, they're going to be there all the time for a decade. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere. Yeah. But other than that, everybody else changes. And it's weird as fuck, because you'll say the crew that you have now, you look at the crew that you have now, then you think about the one you had 2 years ago. And it's like, they're all different people, but it didn't seem like this happened. Yeah. It's like some science fiction movie shit where everybody just migrated into these different people.
No, I understand 100% what you're talking about.
So the point is, with what you're saying is you always kind of be replenishing, but you don't want to replenish, because if you start really actively promoting it to get more and more, it's going to deplete what you've built.
100%. Yeah.
Right? Because that happens too.
Yeah.
Where I've seen people like, we need more people. They bring 5 or 6 people in. Now their whole crew just sucks.
Yeah.
Right. And then the main people are pissed.
Yeah.
That are going to be there, till you die.
The only time I would even ever consider that if all of a sudden, like, for whatever reason, like, so I'm in our crew, so in meet prep, 15, 20 people there every Sunday.
Sure.
Out of meet prep, I might have 8. And then I start yelling, getting pissed off.
Yeah.
And then I, basically say, I'm going to get more people to the crew. And then I think they get like nervous, or like they don't want to replace. They start showing up again. So just kind of, yeah.
Do you find keeping the heavier days on the weekends easier?
Yeah, that helps a lot. Sunday's really good for squat days for us, because like a lot of the guys I have, they're in construction, and they're working really hard. They're outside in the 90 to 100 degree heat. So they, like, especially for like a max effort squat, like they have, get out Friday, they can replenish their bodies, and they can hit a big squat on Sunday.
Plus a big squat day will fuck up the whole rest of your day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone's going, we all have to eat. Everyone's going home and taking a nap. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we have the squat day on Saturday and the bench day on Sunday, which is tough, man.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while for people to get acclimated to that, because it is back to back.
Yep.
But it's the only way you're going to keep people consistently coming, because during the week it's really weird.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Life
really
happens.
Weird. Yes, and not everybody is willing to make powerlifting their number one priority, and work interferes. I mean, a lot of things interfere during the week, so it's interesting to see how many other people follow kind of similar models. Where the bench, it might fall during the week somewhere. The deadlift definitely does. Yeah. Because whatever. Yeah. It's not.
Can't squat and deadlift back to back.
Yeah. Well, and you don't need a spotter for the freaking deadlift.
100%.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
What other challenges have you found with the gym that you didn't expect?
Other than financially.
Well, financially is always going to be an issue.
Financially is number one, obviously.
That never goes away.
Yeah, and like in the Worcester area, it was just like the outside noise, like causing us problems. Like my landlords weren't taking care of anything, and I kept telling them, like, I don't want to be I want to have a good relationship with my landlord, obviously, but it's like all these outside things are affecting me making money and bringing people in, and they tell you everything you want to hear when you sign in the lease and stuff, and then they kind of back off and they don't do what they said they were going to do. So at the other place, I would say just that, like they just didn't, like my landlords just didn't do what they were supposed to do. Like they didn't replace the AC for weeks at a time. Not even the AC, because like that's kind of but like the heat in the wintertime, like my gym was 48 degrees for like 2.5 weeks. Members were getting pissed. A couple of them left, because I have I don't want to say I don't have a commercial gym. I have like anyone can sign up in my gym, and then we do have, obviously it's mostly powerlifters and strongmen and stuff like that. But like the average Joe can come to my gym, and they were getting pissed off about it, and like that's money in my pocket. So just simple things like that at that place. At this place, I haven't run into anything yet. Everything's going really good, knock on wood. But
through your powerlifting career up until now, not counting this last surgery, because it's I mean, it may be a big deal to you, but that surgery's not a big deal.
I'm good.
It's not a big deal.
I'm good. I'm ready.
There's way worse.
I'm ready to come back.
There's way worse things that can happen.
Absolutely.
What's one of the more challenging adversities that you've had to overcome?
In lifting?
And just in lifting, it doesn't have to be the injury. It can just be your squat was stuck at $1,000 for 4 years.
I would say that. I was training hard, real hard. I was doing everything right. And every time I got into a bar, it just didn't feel, it felt so foreign, just because I wasn't, I was doing box squats months at a time, and then I'd throw the suit on. It just felt so weird to me. Like I couldn't figure it out. I would just free fall, couldn't figure out anything. So I would say that in terms of like difficulty trying to get one of my lifts up, it was definitely the squat for 4 years. I didn't PR for 4 years.
And the answer to that was just putting the suit on more.
Yeah, just practicing in the gear more.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just simple. And like obviously at first, like I'd go looser straps, go a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter. Now I'm able to crank them. I could go tighter though. So I know there's even more carryover I can get. But yeah, just same thing with the shirt. Just like, and you asked me earlier, like, what can I do better on the bench? Of course, there's things I can do better, but I think more so just keep practicing like the line, touching the belly, doing everything properly. Like I know what to do. It's just practice, get used to the gear, go in a tighter shirt, get used to the pressure, like learn how, like when you're supposed to tuck, when you're not supposed to tuck, just like simple little things, Well,
it's when you boil it all down, it's like Occam's razor, right? It's the simplest thing. The answer is typically always the simplest thing. But it's those simple things are harder to mentally embrace than most people want to realize, because in a way it kind of means what you did for 4 years prior was wrong. And you don't want to tell yourself that.
Yep.
Because of all the work that you
And you
put
might not
into
want to
it.
change it because you're stubborn.
Yes.
That happened to me on deadlifts for the longest time. So at 21, I deadlifted 7. And then maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I did 775. So it took me like 7, 8 years just to go up there. And I finally hit over 800 a couple times now. But the reason I hit it is I was just grabbing the bar and ripping it. Zero technique involved whatsoever. Now I'm a lot slower, and it was hard to mentally prepare for it because when I pull the slack out, the bar's moving really slow. I'm very explosive. It was going very slow. I'm used to the bar ripping off the floor a million miles per hour to my knees, and then I get stuck. Now it's the opposite. It's a little slower off the floor. When I get it to my knees, as long as I'm in good position, I should be able to lock it out as long as my grip holds. So it's just taking a step back to move 2 steps forward.
So with your deadlift, just out of curiosity, if it was a straight bar, so we got to go back even more years.
Yeah.
That probably worked for you, didn't it?
On the straight bar?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you can't really, I mean, I don't want to say you can't pull slack out of a straight bar. You really, it's not you're pulling slack. You're still doing the motion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the bar's not going to move 2 or 3 inches before you break the floor.
Yeah. But a lot of that explosiveness that you're jerking with gets dissipated throughout the bar because the bar's got that slack and it bends. So
Absolutely.
It's a giant leakage that happens.
Correct.
Where it doesn't happen if it's an axle or if it's a stiffer bar.
100%. Yeah.
Which is the Kabuki bar was a weird one.
I still haven't tried that yet.
Well, it's kind of faded away, right?
Okay,
Because I think it's illegal in all federations.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Better than what I
Gotcha.
do. Yeah. Which is weird because like, what are they going to do with the records? But that's powerlifting, so
everything changes.
Everything changes.
Yep.
And hey guys, if you're enjoying what you're watching, make sure to take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. But that was even that had more. So it's listening to some of the bigger pullers, especially the sumo
guys,
explain how it was like 3, like the deadlift is like 2 lifts, right? There's like the setup, then the pull, right? And then it's like 3, right? So they had those first 2, but then they had another one, after it cleared their knees, because that's when the bar is going to whip back down.
Back down.
Where they had to.
It's all timing.
Yeah, it was
all
timing. It's like, it's weird as fuck to listen to. It's like, at a certain point I need to slow down.
Yeah.
Like what?
The whip will get to you.
Yeah, the whip will throw you back down.
Yeah.
I'm like, how crazy. This is like an Olympic lift breaking it down.
With all these deadlift bars, it's all about timing. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's kind of worked its way down to everything is basically just a version of the Texas deadlift bar.
Yeah. Yeah. Very similar.
At that point. So that's changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
Where would you like to see powerlifting go? Or let me reframe the question. Do you care?
Yeah, I do. I'm a big fan of just the sport in general. So I feel like at least I don't want to say I don't pay attention to Raw, because I have been watching some of the bigger meets, like the ABS meets, and like I'm pretty close with like Phil Herndon. I like watching him, so I do keep a little bit of an eye on it. But in terms of multiply, I feel like it is getting a little bit bigger now. No, not the crazy money and stuff, but like $5,000 for the winners. But there's been like multiple meets, like the Showdown of the Storm. Like I had the Storm Showdown in Florida, the SBF meet. I haven't done that one. I want to do that one. That one was like in a mini stadium last year. WPO is always big, and then Holy Wars and stuff like that. And like some of these meets are dishing out, $5,000. All the best lifters in the country are going to these meets, so it is improving. It's definitely improving.
Are they?
Yeah.
So when I say are they, like, are all the best lifters filtering to the same meet?
So I would say for the most part, like some people are like stuck like doing certain federations and stuff like that. But I'd say as a whole, like obviously Hoff just does WPO. He does 1 meet a year. But all these other guys, like I don't care where I compete. I just want to lift against the best lifters. So like I do plan on doing the WPO next year for sure.
Okay.
I haven't done it. I've done it once, but I haven't done it in a while. But I want to do that. But as a whole, though, I'd say most of the best lifters are going to these meets, like the top 30, like maybe not like the top 5 and stuff like that. But as a whole, you are seeing guys totaling 22, 23 minimum going to these meets, and then up to like 27, 2,800 or whatever.
Yeah. It's the one thing that's always been interesting to me, because that's where I came up through, right? So it was all geared.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misconceptions on the history of the sport, but it was all geared, but the majority of it was single ply.
Yeah.
All the way through until I retired, right? It's just everybody just assumed that multiply made it up the biggest majority. And it might have been 3,500 lifters, out of 20,000, so it never really was.
Yeah. It
just was the non-tested side. I mean, that's kind of how I looked at it. And then the tested side was more the single ply, and there were some other single ply too. But for the most part, the best one always try to compete against the best on both genres, single ply or the other. It was just figuring all that out. Where throughout the last 15 years, maybe 20 years, 15, 20 years, on the multiply side, it hasn't died, right? So I want to preface that. It hasn't died. It just didn't grow to the same level as what Raw did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? So to say that it's dead is actually ignorant, because you can just go to open powerlifting and look at the numbers. Yeah. I mean, if you're a geek, it isn't open source. You can download the database. I mean, it's about the same. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more here and there. But and I don't know where it is now. That's why I'm asking this question. But for a large period of time, it seemed like this one small sector, which is probably the smallest, which would be not unlimited, but I'll ask that too. But the multiply that falls in there.
Yep.
I don't want to say drama, but the number of federations, the number of branch off things that happened in the smallest niche of the sport, which you would think would be the closest niche, right? Mm-hmm. Had way more, there may be more federations in that small niche than the other 150,000 total powerlifters that compete raw.
You're 100% right, because you got the IPF, you got the USAPL. Those are the raw.
SPF.
SPF, yeah. Those are
there's more. There's a lot more. So I don't understand that. That's one thing that's just like, why is the smallest niche that should be the closest? And in a fucked up way, they are. If you put them all in the same gym, and you've been to crews like that, they compete in all different federations. Yeah. And they are probably closer than all the other, lifters combined.
Yeah.
But something happens when it comes to the competing, to where I don't know if they're avoiding competing against each other, or I don't know if the band shirt just imploded everything.
I think that actually is a big point, because they're some federations, like Holy Wars is band shirt only. I mean, I'm sorry, poly only. Mm-hmm. WPO is poly only. And then you have a couple of these other big meets that allow both. So I think that's probably a big reason too, because some people that some of the people, so give me an example, like Shauna Mendelson's meet, it's next couple weeks away. Mm-hmm. They are allowing band shirts. So now I think the winner is going to be in a band shirt. So the poly guys don't want to potentially go there, right? It's just kind of,
I think. And I'm not pro or con either. I'm just observing.
Yeah, me either.
But I think they have to go that route.
Oh, I agree.
Because they're not going to have any lifters in their meet.
Yeah.
Because now if you look at, say, your crew, or if you look at younger lifters that are coming in, mm-hmm. the first thing that they're, probably even before they're putting briefs on, by the way, the first thing they're putting on is like a Widowmaker or some kind of band shirt. They're not putting on a multiply band shirt.
No, I agree 100%.
They're not, right? So their first, as I said earlier, how you come into the sport is basically so their first exposure to gear is that, mm-hmm. right? And I did try to look on open powerlifting to look at the number of unlimited lifters compared to multiply, but the high school thing screws it all up. Because
Texas, single-ply.
They all use Widowmakers. They all use unlimited.
They use the Widowmakers in the meets? Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because I'm looking, I'm like, there's no way there's this many. Yeah. And I've looked a little bit deeper, and I could be wrong too, but this was a while ago. And because that's what I really wanted to know. Yeah. Like if we were to compare, multiply to unlimited, which has the greater number of lifters? Mm-hmm. And my speculation, good guess, is probably the unlimited, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's easier learning curve and all 100%. That to be able to put in there.
Yeah.
Where I don't know how the multiply competes with that.
Yeah.
Unless they build the pro side. Either way, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't. That's why I said, do you even care? Because a lot of the lifters that are competing today should spend more time worried about what they can't control.
Yeah.
And not what they can't.
100%.
And they get caught up in all the other shit.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, they just need to put the gear on and learn how to squat.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Now I think your federation, right? You're part of
IPA.
The IPA.
Yeah.
So how has that been, and when did that start?
2000. I think I've been the IPA state chair for maybe 2.5, 3 years now. Mm-hmm. I don't even get into that. I'm trying to think. Oh, Will Lee from Texas. Me and him got pretty friendly. He was just talking to me. He actually got me sponsored by Titan at that point too. So I was sponsored by Titan for a couple of years. He asked me, I had a gym, so he's like, "Do you want to run meets?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I was just that simple. IPA state chair. Signed some paperwork, and a bunch of the guys in the areas, like, we all do IPA meets. In New England's really big IPA.
Now with the IPA, is it still, if you want to run a meet through them, you just pay the fee, like a $200 fee, and you can run the meet as a meet director, or does the meet director get all the money and then the gym hosting it gets nothing?
So what I do, so Cam, he, the host of the powerlifting den, he runs IPA meets. I just have to, I think I have to just kind of sign off who I allow to run meets at my gym, and then he can be a meet director, yeah.
And then the revenue from the entries goes to
him. I just get door money.
Okay. Now, the reason I asked that is because with a lot of federations, it does not work that way, right? Where gyms get fucked.
Yeah.
Meet directors get fucked, where I was a part of the IPA many, many years ago, like the Ohio State chair, and that was one of the reasons was that. It's like, wait a minute, this makes no sense.
Now, was that a rule or just how you guys just came to an agreement?
For the
say you were the IPA chair for Ohio, and the gym owner,
as a chair, I got nothing. I didn't do it. It's just a name, right? So the card money went to the owner of the federation, right?
Yeah.
So, and then whoever was the meet director, would collect, all the revenue from the meet, but then they'd incur all the expenses as well. So the only thing I had to do was just, you can run the meet or you can't run it. It was
the same thing, same idea. Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Yeah, same idea.
Maybe judge here and there or do something like that.
100%.
It really was just nothing. So
but we kind of so I run 1 meet a year. He does 1 meet a year for the IPA. That's it that I do right now. We're talking, I might want to do an invitational eventually, maybe next year, a couple of years from now. But so right now it's just me and him. And he offered me money before too. Just door money's fine with me. He's one of my good friends, so I don't care. But USAPL, we host a couple meets in there too, and she hooks us up. She gives me 20% of what the lifters pay, door money, pays for everyone to eat. All
right, so that covers. Right, okay, it depends.
Just gotta have to come to an agreement.
All right, it depends on the person, because I've heard where, if say it's your gym, right, and this happened to a couple of friends of mine with a different federation, and they have to shut down for the day.
Yeah.
The weekends during the summer are a big deal.
Yeah.
Because that's when they have a lot of the athletes coming in. So they're losing a lot of revenue. You got to put this meet on to where they find out later they're getting nothing for it and still have to hire people to clean up all the shit and all the stuff afterwards and just get just hammered.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, find another federation if that's, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Any topics you wanted to go over I didn't bring up?
Just my sponsor, F8 Customs. They're unbelievable to me. I'll send a little story. So I went down to Nittany Barbell last year. Actually, it was my best total to date because I haven't been able to hit a bench and comp because my shoulder, whatever the case may be. So I totaled 2560. I was in my Titan stuff. I went to go weigh in. So this was the day before, and Rob Farrell was in there, and he started making fun of me because I think my opener squat was 1050 at the time, and my bench was 600 or something, 625, whatever it was. And he's like, "Dude, you freaking suck at bench." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, thanks." And he's like, "I think I can help you with that," or something like that. And he's like, "Let me send you some stuff." And I'm like, "I'm sponsored by Tate," and blah blah. He's like, "I don't care." He's like, "Let me just send you some stuff. You don't have to say anything." Blah blah blah. So he sent me some stuff. He sent me briefs and a shirt. Put the briefs on, loose as hell. Squat 1,100 pounds to a box. I'm like, "Oh shit!" So I sent him back. Got him tightened up because I wanted to make sure I tried everything before I agreed to it. Tried the bench shirt. Tried the fully loaded briefs and laced up briefs, loaded up, and I was hitting these ridiculous PRs in them. So I ended up dropping Titan. Went with F8, and they take care of me like crazy. They send me their bars for free, all the gear. They're just really nice people. They let me and my father come down, train at the place. They my Rob's into hunting and stuff. My dad is really into hunting, so showed us his basement and stuff. So it's with Titan, it was more so just a kind of a partnership and stuff. They took them a while to get some stuff to me, which is fine. They have to make money and stuff too. But with F8, they just, if I ordered a suit today, I'd have it in a week, custom to me.
With the shirt, right? Because it took you a while to kind of dial in. Multi-ply Titan shirt. And I'm actually going to make the point before you give the answer. That way, this doesn't make you look like a dick in any way. And because when we were supplier for metal, and we would sponsor people. You know, they would move over some of the gear. Just like you said, just works great right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Other pieces, it takes a while, but for that to transfer, because it takes so long to be able to figure out the groove of whatever the new thing is. And so there's a new learning curve, you know, with multiply. But what I found, which was interesting, and this still is true today, if I watch the lifters that move from one company to a different, where being sponsored is, it's a blessing and curse, right? But a curse doesn't have to be the curse. The curse is you now may have to use something that you know you're not going to get as much out of as what you used to use. The blessing part, and a lot of people will get caught up in that mentally, and then they'll never be able to progress from there. The blessing part of it is the free gear. I mean, that's that. But it eliminates your options to use anything else. Yeah. Right. So no matter what comes down the pipe, you know, through company X, Y, or Z, you're not looking, you're not interested. It's you just have to dial in what you have, which is the whole thing with this gear thing. Yeah. Is to dial in what you have. Right. So it could be alterations, it could be laces, it could be there's a lot of things that you can do. When you're forced to dial in what you have and you eliminate all the other options, it's the greatest thing that can ever happen to a equipped powerlifter, because we all know what happens if that's not the case. Somebody comes up with a new thing and they buy it. But then the next thing, you got this multiply lifter that's got 13 different type of shirts. None of them work, by the way. Right? Where if they were forced to just stay with one and alter it, figure it out, learn how to use it, because they're, especially a squat suit, if you wore your squat suit as you do now, the first time that you got it, put it on, you would have done one rep and said, fuck this, it doesn't work.
Probably.
Because it would have been jacked down way too tight, pressure. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's a learning curve. Yep. And I think when there's all these different options that are out there, they jump around. Yeah. Right. And that gets, it gets so compounded because of the niceness of people in the sport. Because they come in with their, I don't even want to say duffel bag, they come in with their coffin bag full of gear. And it's try this. Absolutely. You know, and everybody's just feeding all this shit to somebody. Yeah. Where, you know, my advice is just stay with what works or is close to working. Yeah. Find somebody that can help dial it in. I think, is that what you found to be true?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think people definitely change their gear too much, for sure. They basically try one piece of gear, they don't work, it doesn't work for them, whatever, and they get rid of it immediately. It's like, you don't even know how to use it. You got to practice, you got to, like you said, fine tune it. It might have to get tighter, it might have to be looser. Everyone's legs and, you know, glute size is different. So like if you get a 44, like maybe you need a custom, it might not work for you. You know what I mean? It might be too loose, too tight. Like for me with Titan, they had good gear. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to shit talk them, but no matter what I did, or I told them, the quads on the briefs were so tight. It would, like, you know, normally lock up in the hips. I was locking up in my quads. It was like painful too. It was like ripping my quads to shreds. And, you know, I stayed with it for a long time though. And then I ended up switching it out. But yeah, I do agree with you. I think people do need to stay in their gear for a little bit longer period of time. Yeah.
The difference with the companies that you're talking about is one has, if a company has the ability to do the alterations faster than another one, they have an advantage for the high-end multiply lifter.
For sure.
You know, because that's everything. Yeah. You know, now on the other side, the company may not really care that much about that because the market's more in the single ply, and it's
agreed.
So that's
100%.
So I understand it. Yeah. You know, I understand how it works. But when we were supplying the stuff, I'd always tell people order one size bigger and find somebody to know how to take things in.
100%.
You know, that way you don't have to deal with, because when you would, it's a little different now because there are, you know, companies that do better at building stuff custom. Yeah. Where when I was doing this shit, you ordered anything custom, it was coming fucked up for sure. Oh yeah. I mean, not even close. And now you're fucked because you don't have a baseline. where the baseline 42 is the baseline 42. You don't even know what this is. It's like a 42 hip and a 36 leg and a 48 torso. Yeah. And it's all fucking monstered all up. Where if it was just big, and you had
taking a little bit in a couple places.
Yeah, and I think that's where companies like what you're talking about, FA, is kind of came in and they're able to work with people to be able to dial it in. Yep. From where that's
get it quickly. A lot of some people don't want to wait 3-4 months to get their stuff back. Especially like say something happened. I don't know. You start gaining too much weight or it gets too tight. Like what are you gonna do? Yeah. But you don't have time. So you have to make that decision. You have to get it altered and hopefully you get it back in time. It's kind of a play like a game.
Yeah. So you talked about it a little bit at the beginning. So you're in this injury rehab phase. Yep. And then you want to be 275, which I think's wrong, but you want to be 275. And is the WPO in November what you're kind of looking for, or is that too soon?
I think that's a little too soon. I would like to. I heard rumors that the SBF meet's going to be in like April or May. That might be my first one back. I also don't want to do a meet just to do it either. Like I do have goals. So like my first meet back, I'm not going to shoot for the stars, but I want to go at least 26-12 for my total. That put me top 10 at 275. So, and I think I'll be able to do that by April or May. If I jumped into the WPO, I'd probably still squat in the 11s. But my bench would probably be like a 500-pound token maybe. I don't know. So I don't want to jump into a meet just to do it. I want to make sure I'm competitive.
Right. So it's that basically in a way makes the rest of the year a wash.
This year, yeah. I mean, I'm just working.
So what are the goals for the rest of the year? So it's not just a wash.
Yeah, just let my body heal up a little bit. Like obviously, I'm still gonna be training stuff like that. But like I said, I trained for a month, a year and a half, like all out as hard as I could, like no breaks. Like my body was falling apart. So just kind of let my body heal up. Like I said, GPP stuff, get in better shape, get the really focus on getting my shoulders healthy. And then I actually want to try hook grip on my deadlifts. I think for me, I'm a bigger guy. It'd just be easier to get in position a little bit. So this is like perfect situation. I'll get cleared probably in a month or so to deadlift from my doctor. I'll start with like 200 or 300 pounds hook grip and just because you have to, your thumbs, it hurts, gradually improve. So my shoulder's going to slow me down anyway. So I'll just keep working on my hook grip, my deadlift, because that's the biggest thing with me. I think if I can deadlift like with good technique instead of ripping off the ground, I think 850 plus is doable for me.
So how, because with all you guys are still competing, and by the way, this doesn't go away. Yeah. There's this beast that you got to kind of like feed, which happens from that heavy straining. How are you going to feed that beast throughout the rest of this year without fucking yourself?
It's already tough. Like I said, I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. So I really didn't do any. They didn't want me. So with my rhabdo, they didn't want me doing anything. I don't think I touched weight for 6 weeks. Yeah. I was going crazy a little bit.
That's all easy kind of now, but we're talking
going forward
months, man.
Yeah, that's I don't know. We're gonna have to jump in and figure it out. But right now, like I'm so busy with the gym, we just like moved location, so that's kind of keeping me a little mentally better. But yeah, I do agree. I think eventually. But like I said, hopefully in a couple months I can throw. I don't know when I can throw a barbell on my back. I'm going to talk to Coach P's guy. I hope he's a little bit more aggressive with it, but I don't really know. So I'm hoping I can throw a barbell on my back at month 3 because they're just worried about the bicep right now. The shoulder they don't even care about really. Like I'm good, The bicep they just don't want to make sure the anchor stays in there. So he said I think at month 3 I can I'm not worry about it, but I can start hitting it a little bit harder. So I'm hoping month 3. What am I at 5 weeks? So yeah, so another month and a half, I can jump under a squat bar again and start really squatting again.
Yeah, sort of heavy safety bar squats, just something to get some weight.
Exactly.
That beast, man.
Oh, I'm starting to get a little bit now, especially being here and looking around. I'm like, damn, I want to compete again. I want to start lifting again. So yeah, it's tough.
All right. Any final thoughts, yeah?
Nah, I think that's it. Thanks for having me.
This has been great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. We're done.
Absolutely.
All content you see on this channel and at elitefts.com is created by, take a guess, Elite FTS. If you want to help support the content, head over to elitefts.com and pick up literally anything that you need to be able to get more jacked and strong.